Mount Barker and Verdun interchanges. There's also $100 million for the Southeastern Freeway upgrade and black spot funding for road safety. Meantime, the federal opposition claims billions of dollars of spending in Labor's third budget will only make inflation worse. The government is splashing cash on a $300 energy bill rebate for all households. There's also extra support for small businesses, the renewable sector and local manufacturing. Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor says the outlay is irresponsible.
It's a big spending election budget, and right now, when we've got a cost of living crisis, that's the exact opposite of what we need. So it fails to tame the homegrown inflation we've got and restore the standard of living that all Australians deserve and that they had before Labor came to power.
In other news, a 47-year-old man will front the Coober PD Magistrates Court today, charged with murder. Police in the town responded to reports late yesterday afternoon that a man had been stabbed. A 46-year-old was found with chest wounds and later died in hospital. The pair were known to each other. Major crime detectives will fly from Adelaide to Coober Pedy this morning. Hundreds of French police have been deployed to hunt for a prisoner freed in a violent ambush. Gang-associated Mohamed Amra, known as the Fly, is on the run after a group targeted a convoy transporting him back to prison after a court appearance. 2 prison officers were killed, 2 are fighting for life. UK security expert Will Geddes has told Today detectives will be scrambling to work out how this was able to happen.
This ambush took place right at a toll point when the police vehicles were coming through. So inevitably the accomplices to this particular individual had followed them off, had coordinated this attack, and it was a very, very well executed ambush.
Now to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide's players will hit the training track this morning with coach Matthew Nicks and his team to work out how to replace defender Josh Worrell. He's been ruled out for up to 3 months after having surgery for a broken arm. The Power has some selection headaches with several players pushing for a recall, including the captain Connor Rozee, although defender Lockie Jones will miss another week. Meantime, Brisbane's Lockie Neal is confident their best football is good enough to play finals. Neal has told Fox Footy they're hoping to get their season back on track over the next few weeks.
We're finding a bit of form. I think the nucleus of our game has been pretty strong. Other than the second half against the Giants for probably 4 or 5 weeks, we feel like our brand's starting to show and stand up against some really good teams. Yeah, we get a great opportunity to play Richmond this week back at the Gabba.
The Lions are confident Noah Answorth, who is out with concussion, and Devon Robinson with a shoulder injury, will both be available for selection ahead of that match against the Tigers on Saturday night. Let's get to soccer, and Manchester City has a 1-0 lead with about 20 minutes to play in their crucial EPL clash against Tottenham this morning. City taking the lead early in the second half thanks to their key man up front.
Now Kevin De Bruyne. Now Erling Haaland! There is no flag! And Manchester City score in North London!
Audio there thanks to Optus. If they can hold on, City will go back to the top of the table with 1 game to play this season. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Partly cloudy 22 today, ditto tomorrow, partly cloudy 22, Friday partly cloudy 21, and Saturday mostly sunny 18. Right now it's 13. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Morning, Debbie.
Oh, check the crack, not you again.
Sorry, job to do.
Oh, don't wreck the house, I'm about to get it revalued.
I could knock $100,000 off the price dead easy.
But don't!
I did warn you with that crack in the cornice over there. Sorry.
Don't let cracks ruin your home. Adelaide Screw Piling will underpin your foundation, saving you thousands. Fully licensed, servicing all suburbs. Go to adelaidescrewpiling.com.au.
Sorrow is the sucker punch that takes the wind out of you. Just when you start to focus again, grief cloaks you in darkness. But then you feel yourself lifted into the light. Distinctive Funerals gives you the strength to say goodbye your way. distinctivefunerals.com.au.
The Adelaide Hills are most certainly alive. So many new families are making the tree change, and because these people enjoy the space, they seek change. They've chosen to discover what's on the road less travelled. And if you're heading up to the hills from the freeway, take the Bridgewater exit, and soon you'll be discovering the home of Nissan in the hills.
And right now, it's end of financial year at Adelaide Hills Nissan with big savings. Receive incredible 1.9% finance offers on selected models, plus 2 years free servicing on 2023 models, but hurry because the offer won't last and T's and C's apply.
Take the road less travelled to Nissan's home in the hills and check out their savings and offers. Adelaide Hills Nissan since 1954, Mount Barker Road, Bridgewater.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Large caramel frappuccino with extra caramel.
Cut through the blah to hear more of what you want. Book an appointment with our audiology professionals for high-definition sound at low Specsavers prices.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6:08, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 15th of May. It is the morning after the federal budget. And as has become custom in the last few years, we're going to bring you the most comprehensive analysis you'll hear anywhere with our budget wrap that's going to take place after 7 o'clock. We're going to be speaking to key stakeholders and get their quick 60-second review of the budget and get them to score it for their area of interest. For example, Will Frogley from the Master Builders, what does it do for home construction? Dale Beasley from SA Unions, what does it mean for workers? Andrew Kay from Business SA will give us a business perspective. Pat Sparrow from the Council on the Ageing for older Australians. And Susan Stone for the big question, what does it mean for inflation and how's the Reserve Bank going to see it? We'll have that wrap for you coming up after 7 o'clock this morning. Sean Fuster will be in the studio. We'll go around the courts with Sean. South Australian Senator Penny Wong, of course our Foreign Affairs Minister will be on the show after 8 o'clock, and the Police Commissioner Grant Stevens will join us live in the breakfast studio as well after 8:30. Before, David, we kick things off, just a road traffic incident to be wary of this morning. It's a big one too. Emergency services are currently at the scene at a truck rollover at the Glen Osmond Crossroad Portrush Road intersection. Police are saying there are going to be significant delays in the area. It's because at about 10 to 4 this morning, a truck travelling inbound lost control and crashed into the fountain that's there. The driver has sustained serious but not life-threatening injuries. It's believed the cement truck rolled over. There's an extensive clean-up required. There's some structural damage. The freeway is open, but you can't turn onto Cross Road. So that means the following road closures are in place. Cross Road at Fullerton Road for eastbound. There's no left turn from South Eastern Freeway onto Cross Road. No right turn from Glen Osmond onto Cross Road. No continuation onto Cross Road from Portrush Road. Police are saying avoid the area because you're not going to get anywhere fast. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Well, that's not really excellent news to wake up to, is it?
No, it's not great.
If you're coming in from the hills, and it's going to put a hell of a lot of pressure on what is always congested anyway, Glen Osmond Road. But yeah, it's going to make life coming into town a little bit cruisier, perhaps, for people coming in from, dead south of Adelaide. If you're coming down South Road and Goodwood Road, there's not going to be any traffic entering from Cross Road because there's going to be none coming down the hill. Crazy. Anyway, you might want to, if you are a Hills resident, you might want to try to put a smile on your dial instead by thinking about some of the goodies that you got in the budget last night. And there were some, but I guess the key question is, were there too many or were they too generous? Is this budget going to help or hinder inflation? Only time will tell. You know who's got one of the most sort of important jobs in this? It is by definition a hugely important job. It's one of those jobs that's up there with being the Prime Minister and the captain of the Australian cricket team. Being the Reserve Bank Governor is always a big deal. But being the Reserve Bank Governor now, 12 months out from an election, how much pressure is on Michelle Bullock? Not deliberate pressure, but politically, She can make or break this government. If rates go up, and if she puts out the comments at what is now the mandated press conference, if she stands there and says, "Well, this is because
the budget added pressure,"
because thinking about Phil Coorey yesterday and his back of the off the cuff analysis, which was excellent as always, is why I asked him. Is there any way Dutton can win the election? I reckon the only way Dutton can win the election is if this government ends up looking like an irretrievable Dr. Jim Cairn style catastrophe, which in 1975, despite those of you who still get misty-eyed about the nature of the dismissal, which was pretty harsh, but Australia could not get rid of the Whitlam government quick enough on economic grounds. And I reckon if rates jump again and the bank says, well, if you start throwing money around on $300 hey presto rebates and pay rises...
They're on a collision course. They're on an inevitable collision course now, the federal government and the RBA. It's a little... And to explain what's happened here, and remember we were a little bit puzzled, how does Treasury predict we're going to return to the 2 to 3% target band 12 months sooner than the Reserve Bank? Everyone was saying, scratching their head, how is it possible? The way it's possible is what former Reserve Bank Governor Warwick McGibbon calls gaming the system. Because if you start artificially lowering the cost of things in the basket of goods that makes up CPI, which we know is the key figure that the Reserve Bank looks at.
Like power,
like rents. And you say, we're going to offer rebates on these things. Technically, the ABS crunches the numbers and says people are spending less on rent and power. And we can work out properly what that's going to be. About a... 0.75%, essentially, is what they're sort of saying. That'll lower CPI by.
So Treasury knew that these
measures were in.
Things were coming.
And they're not wrong. It will lower headline inflation. By the end of the year, headline inflation is going to look really good. The Reserve Bank, though, isn't a computer. Michelle Bullock's not a computer. It just doesn't say, well, computer now says target band, we're going to lower rates. She's going to look at it and say, well, is this a true reflection of what the inflation battle in Australia is? Or is it not? Or is this just a short-term measure that's concealing what is a structural and underlying problem? You're going to hear underlying inflation a lot now. We've always spoken about headline inflation. Now you're going to talk about underlying inflation. She's going to say, well, the only thing, potentially she might say, it's back between the target band. My job is to say it's there, we're cutting rates or we're not going to change rates.
But if she thinks it's artificial...
She might also say, well, hang on, rents are down and power's down, but that your infamous cabbage the other day is continuing to go up at a rate that's unsustainable.
Insurance, I had some of that cabbage last night.
Is going up at a rate.
I'm getting real value for money.
You really are. That's lasted. But if she makes that assessment and says, well, I'm not falling for the old 3-card trick here. We might need to go up again. Then they're on a collision course, because then you can have the Treasurer at the end of the year going, we delivered a budget that lowered inflation. This Reserve Bank governor has issues. She's going to say, no, they didn't. Then it becomes a battle of, well, who wins the war of words in the public sphere?
There's a good text here. I think there's a great text. The person didn't leave their name on the Dutton's text line, but it's very astute. It's funny how we get money for power and rent assistance due to the extreme push for renewables and mass immigration, which is causing both of these things to go up. Doesn't this mean that what they are doing is the problem? There is a bit of patient heal thyself in this, isn't there? And
yes.
I reckon that the absence might be interesting to see what Will Frugley from the Master Builders says. But in terms of new measures for housing, or any real thought about the housing market, I know that there's the payments, but the housing stock, what's going on there?
Well, they're building. They've got that huge housing plan, Building Australia, the tens of billions of dollars to build new homes that they announced and had to fight politically for years. So I guess they would say they've tried to set the wheels in motion. But I got the migration data out of the budget because I think this is a huge one for our listeners. And it's a huge one, as that text correctly points out, for all this kind of stuff. They are predicting the net migration rate will come down, but the numbers are still huge. So for next year, for this next financial year, 395,000 people added to Australia. The year after that, 260. The year after that, 255. Some people have said we're 200,000 homes short. There's some economists have calculated we're 200,000 homes short in Australia at the moment. Well, in the next 3 years, we're adding another 900,000 people, nearly another Adelaide
Yeah. So we're getting 1 million people in Australia every 4 years. More than every 4 years.
Yeah, more than every 4 years.
Well, if we have the odd out year, like aberrant years like this year, we'll get there much sooner than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people and it's not a lot of houses being built. So, yeah, I think it didn't feel like it resolved any of the big picture questions of Australia at the moment. Like even the Building Australia, Made in Australia future was kicked down the road a long way, which I think was for responsible reasons because they want to add even more spending to the budget. But it's 4 or 5 years away. It's a decade that starts about 5 years from now.
Yeah. It's funny though. I mean, we were saying yesterday, and you used the term "pick your poison." People have been going, "What's the government doing about cost of living?" And also, what's the government doing about all these interest rates? So we've now got some of the cost of living payments that a lot of people were probably saying, well, that's what we should have had. I mean, their promise, and the reason we had that big stink with Albo a couple of months ago when he was on the show was about, well, is anyone ever going to see this vaunted $275 saving on their power bills, which he promised before the election? And he's like, oh, well, war in Ukraine and, the price of petrol and the off-road deflator and horizontal fiscal equalisation and the vibe, real dog-ate-my-homework answer. So now we do have, from what you said to me before the show, Will, this isn't the exact same promise, but it's pretty much the same figure.
$300 for every household.
Yeah, everyone gets $300 off the power bill.
Not means tested. Everyone gets $300 off. Clive Palmer gets $300 off.
Yeah.
Gina Reinhart gets $300
James
off.
Packer.
Yep.
So they've done that, and a lot of people go, well, good, that's something. But, it comes at a huge hit to the budget. $3.5 billion. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
It's a staggering amount of money. We're going to talk more about the budget. We'll get your thoughts too on the Dutton's text line 0480813995. Dutton's Volkswagen. Experience unmatched versatility and space in the Volkswagen Tiguan All-Space. Dutton's easy to do business with. You can call us too with your thoughts. 8223
Great little text here from Quentin. You bloody snob with your cabbage. You show off. All I can afford is one Brussels sprout to make a coleslaw for a family of 4. I wasn't trying to be flash by
look at Mr. Lardy-Dar with his
cabbage.
His whole cabbage over here. Let's go to Cross Road. We started the program telling you about a truck rollover there that's going to cause traffic chaos this morning. Hayden Nelson's at the scene for 7 News and Sunrise. Hayden, good morning. Just describe what you can see for us, mate, because it sounds like a mess.
Yeah, morning, Will. Morning, Dave. It is an absolute mess. Normally it is pretty well chaos down at the bottom of the Southeastern Freeway any time in the morning, but this is going to be particularly a big headache this morning if you're trying to turn on to Cross Road or turn off Cross Road. This truck, a concrete pumping truck, it would have been absolutely terrifying just before 4 o'clock, has just slammed into that wall right at the bottom of the foothill. We don't know exactly what's caused it to do that. If it's lost control somehow, but at this stage we don't know whether it's lost its brakes or what could have happened. We do know that the driver of that concrete pumping truck has been taken to hospital. There was a pretty significant rescue effort here earlier to get him out safely, but he has been taken to hospital. The police have put out a message saying that the Southeast Freeway remains open. That is to be clear. There's no traffic on the Southeast Freeway itself, but if you're trying to turn on the crossroad, don't bother.
All right, that's great. Hayden, thank you for that. Not great for commuters, but a great report. We're going to keep an eye on it. We would love your updates over the course of the morning at 8223 0000 or on the Dutton's text line. As you progress through the area or find a workaround, the residual delays and so forth are going to be invaluable information. So anything you can send through to us, we would greatly appreciate. We're going to take a quick break. In a moment, we'll check the weather and talk sport with Tom Wren.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, especially with their end of financial year sale on over 500 new, used and demo cars, including over 100 certified used commercial utes in stock, many with new car warranties and low kilometres packed with accessories. Plus, they're offering an additional $1,500 trade-in bonus on all trade-ins. Head to one of Steinborner's 8 locations or view the whole range at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive, it's well worth the trip.
If the bank's declined your business loan, no worries. Universal Finance make business loans easy. No financials required. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now. For lightning fast settlement, sometimes in just a matter of hours. See Universal Finance in Kent Town today. Or search Universal Finance right now. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
If you're in business, manufacturing, warehousing, could be any business, Sharman Shelving can help you keep everything organised. It's a real time saver, and as we know, time is money.
Now, I've talked about my own Sharman shelf for years, but for business, these things have got great applications because you can get entire systems done and, you know, get everything ship-shape and organised. Bill and his team at Sharman Shelving, they've been doing it for years in businesses all over SA to improve workflow efficiencies.
Sharman Shelving can help revolutionise the space you have, no matter how big or small. And if you're worried about the cost, remember Sharman Shelving isn't just about short-term fixes. It's an investment in long-term organisation with affordable solutions and designs for any budget.
So get in touch and talk to Bill for a free measure and quote. He'll gladly show you what's possible. Every business needs a little Sharman. SharmanShelving.com.au or take a look on Facebook.
Built like a brick house. Basic trailers are your best mate for any load. Use the code 5AA to pay only $1 for rego on purchase of your new trailer. True Blue deal at Paraka. Basic trailers. Basically better.
Wind, water. Two unstoppable forces of nature. One just as capable of destruction as the other, but neither, it seems, capable of affecting Aldi's waterproof and wind-resistant men's snowboard jacket with a detachable storm hood for only $59.99. It's special, you can buy, at the Aldi Snow Gear Sale this Saturday. Aldi. Good. Different.
Look, we weren't going to say anything, but here at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we've had some great news. We have just been named National Dealer of the Year by Volkswagen. Again, 2 years running. We're so chuffed we're having a sale on new and demo stock. They're available for immediate delivery with easy finance options. And remember, convenient next day servicing with complimentary loan vehicles. Now our great news is your great news. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's National Dealer of the Year sale. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 6, the two biggest news stories in Adelaide this morning are the truck rollover on Cross Road and the budget. We've spoken about both extensively in the first 15 minutes. Happy to take your thoughts too. We'll get to some of your texts after 6:30, but we might have a look at the weather situation for today and the rest of the week. 22 the expected top today, partly cloudy with just light winds. 22 the same tomorrow, partly cloudy, and 21 the expected maximum on Friday. It's a cool weekend. In fact, it's been revised to even cooler, 18 with an overnight low of 7 on Saturday. How about this? Sunday, maximum of 17 with an overnight low of 6.
Ooh,
for
6.
Adelaide. That is brisk.
That is wintry.
And what about this, David? This will get you excited. There's a 30% chance of any rain.
On Sunday?
On Sunday.
That's good. It's gone up. It was only a 10% chance yesterday.
That's the equivalent.
Is it a 30% chance of rain or a 30% chance of 1%, 1 mil of rain?
30% chance of, no, less than 1 mil of any rain.
Crikey.
But that's a deluge at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it materialises or not, that's considered a downpour.
Tropical.
In a relative sense.
Tropical.
Interestingly, Monday too has a 30% chance of any rain up to 1 mil. Yeah, so maximum of 1 mil of these days. So nothing that's going to change course or get us back to our usual monthly May average. Top of 18 Monday, top of 18 on Tuesday. The overnight lows, though, are getting 6, getting low. It's 6 again on the Tuesday. So we're starting to get to late May, early June part of the year when things at night get very, very cool. Tom Wren's about to make his way into the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. You can experience the 2024 new Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive it at Agostino Mitsubishi. Good morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will and David. Look, never a dull moment in the EPL. Obviously a huge game this morning. So penultimate game for the season for Manchester City, and they're behind Arsenal by a point. So Arsenal fans desperately hoping their bitter rivals Tottenham can do them a favour this morning by either winning or drawing, which would essentially put them in the box seat to win their first English Premier League title in 20 years. 1-0, 85 minutes gone, Manchester City leading, and then this incredible moment happened where Man City's defender inexplicably gave the ball up, and Hoi-Son Min had a chance to level things up in the 86th minute, and you'd back him 19 times out of 20.
Here's Akanji under pressure, and Son could be in, and the title could be on the line. But Ortega makes arguably the biggest save of his Manchester City career.
What a stop that is. That's everything on the line there.
It's a bizarre match this morning.
Did he miss it?
Or did he
miss it?
This is exactly right. No, look, he was genuinely shattered. He didn't. It was an amazing save, but you could feel the fans in the stadium. I reckon half of them don't want him to score because they don't want Arsenal to win the title.
Yeah.
So they'd rather their team lose. Anyway, Manchester City have since scored another goal, Erling Haaland penalty. So they've basically got 1.5 hands on the trophy.
Yeah.
It means on the last day they'll be 2 points clear. They win, they get it.
Reminds me of a great moment in the Serie A about 10 years ago where similar rivalry, Lazio and Roma. Roma needed Lazio to win on the final day to give them a chance of winning the title later that day. The Lazio fans made banners saying, "You score and we'll bash you," for their own teams. They cheered their opponent as they came on, gave them big chants and screams and so forth. And the team clearly matched the energy of the fans because they rolled over. And when the first goal scored, there's this famous banner in the history of Italian football that they unfurled. Huge banner that said, "Oh no." When they went a goal down. It's become this sort of, it's the signal that comes out every time anyone, wants their team to lose. It's the "Oh no" banner.
It's amazing, amazing. Look, and they can still fall over. They've got to beat Crystal Palace on the final day, and Palace have won 5 of their last 6, playing some sensational football. This is Manchester City have to beat them, but you'd back them. They've got too much class, too much quality. Fellas, where do you sit with the... I saw the fan last night. Tom Morris did a story with him and showed enormous contrition. The Collingwood fan that sort of, don't touch the players, totally get it. But when someone shows that much contrition and that much, owns it, I don't know if I'm comfortable with him being suspended for the rest of the year.
This was the fan. I haven't heard him speak, Rennie. So I'm not. But this is the fan. He touched a player, but he was kind of affectionate, wasn't he?
And stupid.
He shouldn't have done it.
Do not do it.
But it was almost a. Yeah, I know what you're saying because it was almost like a human reaction. He bumped into him and he kind of patted him on the chest,
on the head, and grabbed the footy and handballed it back to the umpire.
Yeah.
And look, get the message. You cannot touch players, but. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a bit soft, but I thought it was a bit heavy-handed to ban him for the rest of the year.
I mean, it's different from doing something belligerent and aggressive.
Like when the guy touched Marlon Pickett and clearly was being a bit aggressive last year, and he got banned for a year, and I've got no problem with that.
It's one of those things. I mean, Toby Green would be the best person to answer this. It's like, are there any shades of can you ever touch the umpire? Even if the umpire's in your corner, as he was in the Green case, saying, "Look, I've got no issue with Toby. What he did was fine." He still got rubbed out.
It seems to be what the AFL's done here.
Yeah.
You said that's the minimum ban.
Strict liability. No wiggle room. If you did it, you did it.
Yeah. I understand what you're saying, Rennie, because it wasn't.
Well, the AFL's good at double standards. I mean, just look at Jeremy Cameron v. Aliir. Maybe they should make an exception for the lad.
Yeah, you're right. They're given to the odd exception, aren't they?
That's right. Trent Cotchin doesn't get sort of reported, doesn't get put away in the lead up to grand finals. Things like that seem to happen.
This guy was a Richmond fan, wasn't he?
Collingwood
fan.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's as guilty as sin.
3 years.
Throw him out. Let's change everything.
That's too good for him, I say.
Get on you, Eddie.
Get on you, boys.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
Seniors advocates are welcoming a freeze on the price of some medications for pensioners and concession card holders in the federal budget. The cost of drugs on the pharmaceutical benefit scheme will be kept at $7.70 for this group over the next 5 years. Council on the Ageing Chief Executive Patricia Sparrow says that will allow older Australians to make sure they can look after themselves.
We know that many older people actually eke out their medications. Maybe they should be taking them every day and they try and take them every 2 or 3 days because they just can't afford it. So these are really important measures that will help.
A major budget investment in clean energy and local manufacturing is being welcomed as a way to the future-proof Australia's energy industry. $23 billion will be spent over 10 years under Labor's Future Made in Australia plan. Clean Energy Chief Executive Kane Thornton says it's the single biggest government commitment to clean energy in the nation's history.
What this budget reflects is the government's commitment and recognition that clean energy plays an enormous role in our economic future. This budget will help to deliver lower power prices. It will help to deliver tens of thousands of jobs across rural and regional Australia.
The budget also includes a one-off $300 power bill rebate for all Australian households, an extension of the $20,000 instant asset write-off for small businesses until the middle of 2025, and a surplus for this financial year, followed by deficits in the following years. But opposition MPs are criticising the federal government's third budget, arguing it'll only make inflation worse. Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor says the extra spending will drive up inflation.
This is a Labor government that resorts to its usual tricks, which is more spending and failing to deal with those fundamental issues that Australians need dealt with. And the result is the losers in all of this are Middle Australia.
In other news, South Australian veteran and defence families are being formally acknowledged in a day of recognition for the heroes behind the heroes. Commencing today, Veterans Families Day will be officially marked on the 15th of May each year in South Australia to recognise the contributions and personal sacrifices of current and former Australian Defence Force families. Veterans Affairs Minister Joe Sockarch says the recognition is an Australian first.
Thank you to the families and the loved ones of current and serving defence personnel. We have such a long tradition in our state of supporting and celebrating our veterans, and today we say a very special thank you to their families, the true heroes behind the heroes.
South Australian man Troy Smith is bolstering his defence after being arrested for allegedly being in possession of meth in Bali. He's hired the man who helped free Schapelle Corby. John McLeod is a former police officer turned consultant who works with Aussies in legal trouble overseas. And we're being warned to be wary of a new SMS scam targeting customers of major supermarkets and telcos. The communications watchdog says a text message asking people to redeem loyalty points before they expire is likely fraudulent. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Today looms as crucial for Port Adelaide captain Connor Rosie, as well as teammates Jace Burgoyne and Jordan Sweet, if they're to prove they've overcome their issues and are ready to go for Sunday's match against Hawthorn. The Power will train at Alberton this morning, while the Crows will do the same across at West Lakes. To tennis, Aussies and Isla Tomljanovic and Adam Walton have received wildcards for the upcoming French Open. Craig Gabriel reports.
After a year of health and physical issues that saw her ranking plummet from a career-high 32, Tomljanovic is back on court and has been helped along with this direct entry, while Walton is a 25-year-old Queenslander at a career-high ranking of 111. 5 major winners have been snubbed: Simona Halep, Dominic Thiem, who retires this year, Venus Williams, Caroline Wozniacki and Emma Raducanu. Halep won the French, while Thiem and Williams have been finalists. And with Raducanu ignored, it's probably no French player will get a wild card at Wimbledon.
To soccer now, Manchester City has one hand on the English Premier League trophy. That's following a 2-0 win against Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham this morning. Erling Haaland opened the scoring early in the second half before sealing the result with a penalty in stoppage time.
Haaland puts Manchester City on the edge of glory.
Audio there thanks to Optus. The result puts City 2 points clear of Arsenal with just the one game to play this season, meaning the destiny is well and truly in City's hands. Spurs, meantime, are now guaranteed of finishing in 5th place. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Partly cloudy 22 today, tomorrow partly cloudy 22, Friday partly cloudy 21, then Saturday mostly sunny and 18. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7, touch of etiquette. Lucy's got a real curly one for us this morning. Before we get to it, shall we do some Dutton's texts?
Yep, we have got a mountain of texts already about the budget. One here from Jason in West Lakes. Dave and Will, personal income tax is set to rocket over the forward estimates. People should be careful what they wish for when Labor changed the stage 3 tax cuts, but maintain bracket creep. It's true. People are going to, think long and hard before you get a pay rise, folks.
Yeah.
Because you might end up actually paying more tax than you otherwise would have.
4% a year, I think, wages go up according to the budget. So if you consider 4% a year over the next few years, you very quickly will move into a place where you bump up a tax bracket.
Yeah. Jimbo says, so Dave, what this means is we actually got $25 in the budget for our power bills. This is all a bit of a joke. And also, John in Jamestown, we might try to have a chat to someone in Jamestown after 8 o'clock because there's been another earthquake in Jamestown, a 2.1 magnitude earthquake in Jamestown at about 9:45 p.m. last night.
It's going to be news when it's not an earthquake in Jamestown shortly.
Yeah, I know. It's like our own sort of non-tragic version of Christchurch.
Is it an earthquake or does Jamestown just wobble constantly now?
Wobble, wobble, wobble.
They're just in a constant state of it's perpetual motion in Jamestown,
like a big panna cotta.
Like they're a big they're sitting atop a giant panna cotta.
Yeah, that's how you know when a panna cotta's been cooked right. It needs to wobble.
I like that theory. Time for a touch of etiquette on a Wednesday morning. Lucy brings questions of etiquette, morality, right and wrong in 2024, and you, our esteemed audience, are the judge, jury and executioner. Lucy, good morning to you.
Good morning. Today I bring petiquette.
Petiquette?
Pet etiquette. David, you and I both have dogs, and this is possibly one we've encountered. Very debatable topic, so please, 8223 0000. So, as everyone on the planet knows, I have a gorgeous border collie.
Yes.
She's gorgeous, she's smart, she's very friendly, but some people don't like dogs. So I had a friend come round last year and she said, hey, we're going to come round, but I know that Sarah over here doesn't actually like dogs. Do you mind leaving your dog outside?
And it's an in-the-house dog.
Both. She's free roaming. And I thought, well,
free range.
It's my dog and she's polite and she's not going to jump up and it's my house that you're coming to. But if you don't like dogs, is that your issue or do I put her outside?
Do you lock up the dogs for the non-dog-loving friend that you've got when they come around? 8223 0000. What do you do in that scenario? You lock it up or...
I was happy to put her outside. I get it. Some people have quite a fear of dogs or a fear of, cats or birds, whatever. Whatever your pet is, some people might be really scared of it. But she's a beautiful dog. She's a princess. She sheds a lot, so I get that. If you don't want fur on your clothes, bring your own lint roller. But she wouldn't hurt a fly.
Bring your own oxygen tank for an asthmatic.
So, 8223 0000. Do you have to feel like you need to lock up your own dog if your house guest doesn't like dogs?
I am firmly of the view that humanity did not spend millennia clawing its way to the top of the food chain to fit in with animals. Even though I own dogs, I own 2 dogs and I'm extremely fond of them. I don't know if I'd say love. It says love. You sort of reserve love for fellow humans.
Every comment you've ever made about your dogs to us over the past decade has not been sentiments of love.
I really like them, and they're good dogs.
Yes,
they're good
love,
dogs.
No.
But I've got a couple of friends who really aren't into animals at all, and when they come around, I'm quite happy for the dog to go out, 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 out. But the dogs and I get on well. Paddington's all right. I'm the guy who feeds them. I'm the guy who gives them their little drop every month to keep the fleas at bay. Give them their pills. I've got a way of worming them where I get some liverwurst and I make a little ball of liverwurst and they go crazy because they love the liverwurst. So we have a good relationship.
Yeah.
But the humans run the house, not the dogs. The dogs do not get on the couch. They do not step foot in our bedroom. There are rules.
I hope my dad's listening to this, who's taught my dog a few little tricks such as that.
There are some... There's some inflammatory commentary coming through on the Duttons text line. We'll go take some calls first. I'm intrigued to know whether they match what we're reading. Helen in Glenelg North, good morning. What do you make of this ethical quandary?
No, definitely put the dog outside.
You put the dog out?
But Helen, what if it's a lovely, friendly dog?
No, because any dog can turn. No, I'd put them out instead because maybe they've had asthma. People might have asthma or something. No, I think it's polite.
Okay,
so the thing too with a friendly dog, not everyone wants to be friends with a dog. Like our dogs are friendly. Our dogs, but they jump up. They push, they scratch people by accident. Like, that's where I think, no, people don't have to deal with that.
In contrast to Helen, Kaz in Brompton asks, how good a friend is your friend? Luke and Craigmore, good morning.
That's exactly what I was going to say. How good is your friend? How do you rate your friend? Dogs are a man's best friend or a woman's best friend. And, I'll be telling the person to just, go away. Dog doesn't best.
In the friendship.
It's me or the collie.
The people aren't on the fence on this one. Thank you, Luke. Andrew and Prospect, what do you make of this question?
Open wide, come inside, it's doggy time.
What's that mean, mate?
Yeah, bring him in.
Bring him in?
It means Andrew hasn't made a home yet, is what it means. Thank you, Andrew. Frank and Prospect, good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I just thought that, if you go to visit a person, you take them as a whole. You take them for their music, you take them for their TV, you take them for their dogs or cats.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. I like that. If someone comes to visit me, they get my dog and free-to-air news nightly.
Thank God, Luce. We need more of your generation to be watching the news on free-to-wear. I don't even care which one.
Matt on the text line says people who don't like dogs are horrible. Tell your friends you'll chat to them on the footpath. One here, great call, David. Dogs do not run the house. Thank you for that, Tom. I don't know. I struggle with it. You see, I was searching for this article. There was a survey done a few days ago. Majority of South Australians back pets to be allowed on public transport. There's a survey that's been done by Pet Circle saying 88% of Australians have no issue with pets being on public transport.
I think there's a line that needs to go there. I had this debate on Melbourne's 3AW last week in that if they're your beloved pet and you're just taking it to the shops because you can on a bus, I don't think you do that unless that's your way of public transport and that's what you need to do for a service dog. But if I was to get on the bus and take Maisie to the CBD for fun, no.
I struggle when I'm walking down aisle 4 at Bunnings and there's a dog.
Yeah, but Bunnings, Dave, it's got a pet aisle.
Ray in Smithfield, what do you make of this?
Dogs or any animal has got the attitude of picking out who's good and who's bad. And if your friends don't want to come inside with your dog, then say, I'm not going to put my dog outside, it's a Great Dane. And she loves everybody, and if they don't like the dog, then there's something wrong with that person. Even if they've got an allergy, I've got very close friends who've got allergies, but they still come inside when the dog's there. If they've got something against your dog and tell you to put your dog outside, you might have to say second thoughts about that person, I think.
Dogs 1, humans 0.
I think there's a separate argument as well around if your dog, say for a Great Dane, I'm sure she's beautiful, Ray, but I am the size of a Great Dane.
No, you're smaller.
And whilst I love dogs, I'm not sure I'm entirely comfortable with a Great Dane that's going to jump up and lick me. And that's purely because I'm shorter and the size of one. But if a dog is vicious and you know that your friend has a vicious dog, you should be okay to say, hey, do you mind just leaving old Barky outside?
You know what we should... The touch of etiquette question has quickly become this. Do dogs belong inside or outside? Because that's on the Dutton's text line. There is a huge divide that's largely centred around that. That said, I like some of the people who are very savage on the friend, Luce. Tina says, put the dog outside. The poor dog doesn't need to be exposed to that friend, which is an interesting way of looking at it. Someone else here said, what if you have children and your friends don't like children? I think you simply put the kids outside. It's very difficult.
Back in your kennel.
Hang on, maybe we should ask, who lets their kids inside? Maybe that'll be next week's touch of etiquette.
I think some of the people who love dogs as much as they clearly do probably have a real problem with small versions of humans. Some people are, was it that song by the Foes, Dogs Are the Best People? I think that there should be more tolerance for people's discomfort. Like, we had a family friend years ago who had absolutely just pathological fear of birds. And one day she came around, we had a pet little Corella called Jake. And I used to bring him inside, he'd sit on my hand, he'd come in and he'd just walk around on the back of the sofa. And this lady, Ruth, turned up when Jake was inside. I thought she was going to have a nervous breakdown. Because she walked into the room and Jake started flying.
You're right. Pathological fear is way more than discomfort.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
She was sobbing.
If there's a pathological fear of dogs or cats or whatever you have, I think that's a totally different argument. But if you're slightly uncomfortable...
You're just like, not into it.
Yeah,
it's
if
different.
you're not a dog person, A, who are you? Don't want to know you. And B, put up with it. Or you meet at a cafe. I mean, then do you bring the dog to the cafe? Oh, we could go on all day, but I won't.
It is interesting. What I'm just trying to think. What's a less emotive equivalent for what you'd demand walking into someone else's house? If you frame it that way, like you wouldn't walk into someone else's a friend's house and go, "Hey, can we turn this crap off the TV?" If it was on, well, you would.
What if you walked in and they were just playing Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up on a loop?
You wouldn't be friends with them, Dave.
No,
That doesn't make sense, that question. I know you well enough. Margaret in Parafield Gardens, good morning.
Oh, good morning, guys. Great topic. First of all, Pembo, I like your very balanced view. You said your dogs are lovely, but they jump up, so you would certainly put them outside, and that's great. But if you've got a dog that doesn't jump up, and you've got a close friend who knows you really well, then they absolutely need to accept that this dog is going to stay in the house. Otherwise, quite frankly, I would just say to my close friend, if she is that close, we're either meeting at a restaurant, like Lucy said, or you're not coming over. I just think it's so insulting. You know, I might not go over to their house because, you know, they might have bratty kids, but I'm not going to go and say that. They don't have to stay outside. So
put your kids on a leash. Good on you, Margaret. Thank you.
Thanks, Margaret.
Tony in Glenside, good morning.
Hello. Something I haven't heard people say, that dogs lick each other's backsides. Now, if you go to someone's house and a dog brushes up against your trousers or the lady's legs, let your imagination work with that.
Yeah, well,
okay.
There's a certain earthy truth to what you say, Tony.
Thank you, Tony. I think that was a pretty even split.
Yeah, it was. I think it just shows there's dog people and there's non-dog people. There's pet people.
Great topic. If you're wondering why Lucy's gone quiet, she's had to go do producer stuff. She's fascinated by the topic, obviously, but she's also got, unlike us, she can't just jabber on for 3 hours. So, great idea. Hopefully that'll help Lucy resolve her problem, although I think it's going to just add a layer of difficulty because it was so evenly split. So, to each their own, I guess, is the outcome of a touch of etiquette this morning.
That's right.
Let's check traffic. For the biggest range of outdoor furniture indoors, visit the Outdoor Scene's new location, Wilton Avenue, Somerton Park.
Thanks, Will. And morning, David. At Meadowbank Road closed. Your nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. Crossroad closed between Fullerton and Glen Osmond Road. Avoid that area this morning as you're going nowhere fast. At Port Adelaide, works on St Vincent Street near Baker Street, bit sluggish, and we are slow at the moment. South Road at Glandore, just after the overpass heading into the city. Speeds at 40 and road plates there. Cameras this morning, Bartley Terrace, West Lake Shore and Military Road at West Beach. The Audi end of financial year event is here. Receive reductions equal to the amount of GST on the manufacturer's recommended list price. That's across a wide range of Audi models. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jarvis Toyota has moved to their brand new home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park. Take advantage of opening savings across the Toyota certified pre-owned range and enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota at Jarvis Toyota. All certified pre-owned vehicles are tested and backed by Toyota, including a full service history and 90-point safety check. Toyota certified, pre-owned in a class of its own. Jarvis Toyota, now at Brighton Road, Somerton Park, proudly celebrating 22 years of great deals.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
Exercise is essential to well-being. Ensuring everyone feels strong in body and mind is what Brain and Body Fitness Studio is all about.
Their team of qualified exercise physiologists tailor exercise programs for those living with chronic conditions, injuries or disabilities, or those who want to age well. With individualised, in-depth coaching, they craft unique workouts to meet unique needs, while group classes like yoga, boxing, dance and mat Pilates create a vibrant community where victories are shared.
As allied health professionals, members can save using private health rebates. DVA health cards, white or gold, are accepted as payment upon a GP referral. They also accept those supported by the NDIS and My Aged Care.
Discover the Brain and Body Fitness Studio at bbfs.com.au.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 to 7. I like Dan in Woodcroft's text who said, last week we're all meant to respect people who didn't like hugging, and this week the message is everyone needs to respect dogs and not people who don't like them. So a touch of etiquette, Dan. There's not necessarily any consistency to it week on week. It's just the vibe.
That's right.
It's the vibe.
Exactly.
Let's head to the Weather Bureau. Simon Timke at the Bureau of Meteorology joins us. Simon, another nice autumnal day, albeit I look on the forecast and there are some cool nights coming.
Yeah, that's right, Will. Morning, guys. A fair bit of cloud around today too, high cloud. Not expecting any showers out of that cloud. But it will sort of stop a little bit of sunshine getting through. The winds today generally pretty light, and if any direction a northeasterly, probably get a little bit of sea breeze develop near the coast as well. Temperature-wise, we had an overnight minimum of 9 degrees, currently sitting on 11.6 degrees in the city, and expecting a maximum of 22 today, 22 degrees as well for Elizabeth, and for Glenelg, Mount Barker and Noarlunga expecting maximum temperatures 21 degrees. A pretty similar day on the way for tomorrow, still a bit of high cloud around, although it will gradually clear away to the east, down to 10 overnight and a maximum for Thursday of 22. Friday partly cloudy, 21, and then the nights start to get a little bit colder over the weekend, down to 7 on Saturday morning and a mostly sunny day to follow, 18 degrees, down to 6 degrees for Sunday morning and then a maximum of 17. Just a slight chance of a shower on Sunday as well, probably a little bit more likely about the hills and southern suburbs. So a little bit cooler over the weekend during the day and during the night.
All right, good stuff. Thank you for that, Simon. Let's head over to SAPOL. Senior Constable Kate Dawson is on the line. Kate, this crash at the bottom of the freeway involving the cement truck, obviously first and foremost concerns for the driver, but crikey, this is going to cause all sorts of issues today, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And luckily the driver is actually going to be okay, but it's going to be pretty chaotic this morning. So it all unfolded about 10 to 4 this morning. A truck travelling inbound towards the city lost control at the intersection, and it sort of veered off to the left and crashed into a wall on the northern side of Crossroad, just to the west of the fountain, and rolled. So the driver's a 65-year-old Millicent man. He sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries and has been taken to hospital. So the southeastern freeway remains open. However, there will be speed restrictions, and motorists are unable to turn onto Crossroad from any direction. So if you're travelling south on Port Rusher, you can't continue onto Crossroad, and obviously from the freeway you can't turn onto Crossroad. So and Crossroad is closed between Fullerton and the intersection there at Glen Osmond Road. So there will be significant delays, like you said, throughout the morning, definitely over peak hour. We've been told the wall that the trucks crash into is very unstable and may collapse. So, there's just going to be delays trying to shore that up and remove the truck. So if you're heading into the city this morning, travelling down the southeastern freeway, probably leave pretty early or find another way in altogether.
Absolutely. Kate, also, grim news out of Coober Pedy where there's been a fatal stabbing.
Yeah, this occurred about 5:45 last night. Police were called to Hutchison Street after a report a man had been stabbed. So when police arrived, we found a 46-year-old in Dalton man with a stab wound to his chest. He was rushed to hospital where he sadly died soon after arrival. Patrols quickly located and arrested a 47-year-old Cooper Pedy man nearby. It's understood both parties are known to each other and we're not seeking any further suspects. So this man's been charged with murder and he'll be appearing before the Coober Pedy Magistrates Court today. Our major crime detectives will be flying up to Coober Pedy from Adelaide this morning. We're just asking anybody with any further information who's not yet spoken to police to contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333-000.
Thanks for that, Kate. Senior Constable Kate Dawson there from SAPOL.
5 minutes to 7. Let's head out to the scene of that crash now. Jade Robran is there for us, thanks to the great people at Dutton's, family owned and operated for 75 years. They're easy to do business with. I encourage you to jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream as well, because Jade, you've taken some pictures and we've got some video of what's happened there. What does it look like? What sort of damage are we talking about? Because we understand there is some structural damage too.
That's correct. Good morning, guys. So it is a bit of a mess, I have to say. So as we just heard then, the truck has turned onto Crossroads and just smashed straight into the wall of where the fountain is at the bottom of the freeway. And there is concrete that has been just spilled right across the road here. So they've got those bags of that, that special stuff you throw on the road to clean it up and stop that spill stop Econo, it's called. So there's bags of that the police have thrown across the road. A lot of, the brick, that structural, it's just that wall is just crumbling down as we speak. You can see bricks have fallen onto the ground. So this area is going to be closed for most of the day because that is just simply not safe at all and will have to come down. But a power pole has also come down. It's not a Stobie pole. It is a strong power pole that has come down. Look, at this point in time, we don't know if it is a brakes issue, whether it was a speed issue. I can tell you that the driver, he had to be cut out of the cabin. He was rushed to hospital. He has had a CT scan and he has got some fractures, but as we did hear a little earlier, he will be okay, thankfully. But between Fullerton Road and the freeway here, it will be closed for most of the day. Buses are also taking alternative routes, but I'm just walking a little bit further down the road and the truck, it's just flipped on its side. There really isn't much left of it. It's an absolute mess here, guys, and like I said, the road will probably, as what I'm hearing now, will be closed for most of the day because they are going to have to come in shortly and take this wall down because it is structurally unsafe. And then of course you've got the concrete, which will cause that slippiness on the road as well, so they'll have to clean that up as well.
All right, thank you for that, Jade. Good report. Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one to navigate for people over the course of the day. Let us know what you see, folks, and where you're going, and what Glen Osmond Road looks like, for example, or whatever workaround. Maybe just people decide, I'm going to work from home today. 8223 our number. You can text us on the Duttons text line 2480 1395. Stick around because our comprehensive budget wrap is next, featuring the building industry, SA unions, the business industry here in South Australia, the Council on the Ageing, our resident economist Susan Stone from UniSA, who we love speaking to on the inflationary pressures that the budget may or may not will either create or alleviate. We're going to get their 60-second take and score out of 10 right after the 7 o'clock news.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road.
She rides from the top of the driveway to test how fast she can go. And suddenly...
Wait, stop!
She's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time and the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, especially with their end of financial year sale on over 500 new, used and demo cars, including over 100 certified used commercial utes in stock, many with new car warranties and low kilometres packed with accessories. Plus, they're offering an additional $1,500 trade-in bonus on all trade-ins. Head to one of Steinborner's 8 locations or view the whole range at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive, it's well worth the trip.
For over 3 decades, Regent Homes has been synonymous with crafting architecturally bespoke homes, each one a testament to Regent Homes' unwavering commitment to design, quality and sophistication. And because Regent Homes is a South Australian family-owned company, they understand more than anyone what it takes to build a family home. Experience Regent Homes' award-winning display homes at Lightsview and Blackwood Park. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road. Wait, stop!
Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
Traffic chaos at the bottom of the southeastern freeway this morning after an out-of-control truck smashed into a wall at the freeway crossroad intersection. Sunrise reporter Hayden Nelson says the accident is causing major delays.
this is going to be particularly big headache this morning if you're trying to turn onto Cross Road or turn off Cross Road. This truck, a concrete pumping truck, it would have been absolutely terrifying just before 4 o'clock, has just slammed into that wall right at the bottom of the foothill.
The driver has been taken to hospital. There are road closures in place. Cross Road closed at Fullerton Road eastbound. No left turn from the Southeastern Freeway onto Cross Road. No right turn from Glen Osmond onto Cross Road. No continuation onto Cross Road from Portrush Road. Police are asking the public to avoid the area and find alternative routes. To the federal budget, and the Albanese government has announced billions in cost of living measures, including an energy bill rebate. Federal Politics editor Michael Packey.
Treasurer Jim Chalmers has delivered his third budget, promising various spending measures, including a one-off $300 reduction in power bills, covering every Australian household and 1 million small businesses. Dr Chalmers believes the measure will reduce inflation and ease cost of living pressures.
It will take about half a click off the CPI next year.
Rent assistance has been extended for low-income earners. The cost of some medicines on the pharmaceutical benefits scheme will be frozen for up to 5 years. There's more money for housing and HECS relief for students. The opposition's Angus Taylor argues Labor's budget is reckless.
$4 of spending for every dollar of savings.
Over the next 10 years, almost $23 billion will also be poured into the Future Made in Australia scheme in a bid to grow the renewable energy industry.
There's a boost for several SA road projects in the federal budget. $120 million in funding has been reinstated for the Mount Barker and Verdun interchanges. Mayo MP Rebecca Sharkey glad to see the hills haven't been forgotten.
There's also some money for black spot funding for road safety that's, critical across South Australia's regional roads.
Major crime detectives will fly from Adelaide to Coober Pedy this morning following a fatal stabbing. A 47-year-old man was arrested and charged late yesterday following the death of a 46-year-old man. The victim was found with a stab wound to the chest but died later in hospital. The pair were known to each other. The suspect will face court later in the day. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has made an unannounced visit to Kyiv as Ukraine faces a new Russian offensive. Last month, the US Congress passed a $61 billion military aid package following a delay of several months. Mr. Blinken says it will make a real difference on the battlefield.
You are not alone. The United States has been by your side from day one. We are with you today, and we will stay by your side until Ukraine's security, its sovereignty, its ability to choose its own path is guaranteed.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Time for 5AA Sport. Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. Port Adelaide is hopeful of regaining some star power for Sunday's match against Hawthorn at home, with captain Connor Rosie a chance to return from a hamstring injury, along with Jace Burgoyne, who missed last week with a sore groin, while Jordan Sweet has recovered from illness. The Power will train this morning, while the Hawks could also get some key players back, with their skipper James Sicily and key forward Mabwar Chol both tracking well to return from injury. That's this weekend, of course, but both will need to pass a fitness test to return to play. Well, Aussies Isla Tomljanovic and Adam Walton have received wildcards for the upcoming French Open. High-profile players Dominic Thiem, Simona Halep, Venus Williams and Emma Raducanu have all been snubbed, however. Aussie Jake Fraser-McGurk was dismissed for a duck overnight in the IPL, but his Delhi Capitals still managed a 19-run win. That was against the Lucknow Supergiants. The Capitals, though, still look likely to miss the finals, while the Supergiants also look likely to miss out on the top four. Well, Josh Giddey's Oklahoma City Thunder have hit back in their NBA Final Series against the Dallas Mavericks, winning Game 4 100-96 to level things up in their best-of-7 series at 2-2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the star with 34 points.
SGA takes it at Hardaway. Oh, that's ridiculous! Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in his bag!
Audio thanks to ESPN. The Boston Celtics have taken a commanding 3-1 lead in their series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's after a 109-102 point win in Game 4. And in ice hockey Stanley Cup playoffs, the Carolina Hurricanes have won Game 5 against the New York Rangers. The Rangers lead the series 3-2. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
Morning there, Middle Bank Road closed due to a nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway this morning. Crossroad closed between Fullerton and Glen Osmond Road. Avoid the area as you'll be going nowhere fast. Port Adelaide works continuing. St Vincent Street near Baker Street. Slow for work south road at Glandore. Down to 40 with road plates in use there just after the overpass heading into the city. And got a camera Old South Road at Aldrinella. Chemist Warehouse are committed to making healthcare more affordable. So if you're a concession card holder, pensioner or veteran, you only pay $6.70 for your scripts. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Still no rain in sight. Partly cloudy 22 today. Tomorrow partly cloudy 22. Friday partly cloudy 21. Then Saturday sunny, mostly sunny 18. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
When you think about it, quality household appliances make our lives so much easier. And at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, even choosing an appliance is easy. Celebrate 125 years of quality with Miele at Adelaide Appliance Gallery. With the best advice, the best appliances, and the best deals on Miele. Get 10% off, plus a 5-year warranty on Miele built-in cooking, refrigeration, dishwashing, and laundry appliances. Limited time only. Make your life easier with Miele and Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
Series Music is making history with Adelaide's biggest ever music sale. Well over $1 million worth of gear has been priced to clear. Get up to 60% off drums, up to 30% off electric guitars, bass guitars, amps and accessories, with discounts on keyboards, brass and woodwind, PA systems and more. Series Music is so serious about clearing the entire store with over $1 million worth of gear priced to clear. In store only right now. This is a once only opportunity. Series Music, 41 McGill Road, Stepney.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Yesterday was your last day. Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 7. It's become something of a custom on 5AA Breakfast. The morning after the budget, federal or state, we want you to hear from as many of the organisations that represent specific interest groups as possible. And we devised a method a few years ago of doing this, where we give our guests 60 seconds in which just to give their spiel on the budget, their instant reaction to it. Then they score it out of 10 for their area. So you might hear scores that are very different from the business community than you do from the people, the master builders, for example,
well,
or from the unions.
There's a few organisations that always line up pretty squarely ideologically with their preferred side of politics. So, but that's part of life.
We
get it, and our listeners get it.
Yeah, that's right.
So others offer a more detached sort of,
Some are never happy.
Well,
the nature of who they represent, they're never going to be fully satisfied. But it's good to hear as broad a range of reactions to the budget as possible. And of course, you're part of that, folks. We love hearing from you. We've got some very thoughtful, interesting texts on the Duttons text line over the course of the first hour of the program. We'll get to those shortly as well. But let's start our budget wrap on this Wednesday morning with Dale Beasley, the Secretary of SA Unions. Dale, good morning to you. Your reaction to the federal budget.
Thanks for having me on. Look, working South Aussies have needed to see two key things from this budget: higher wages and cost of living relief, and the budget does deliver on both of those. We're sad to see that the place laws that the government passed over the last 18 months, average wages are looking like they are going to go up more in the next year than they did under a decade of the Liberals. Now, that's really significant. The budget does other things too. We've got new study placement payments for teachers and nurses, and that's going to go a long way to help attraction and retention. HECS debt relief, new fee-free TAFE places, support for rises in aged care wages and early childhood education wages. This budget does a lot for the pay packets of working South Aussies. Obviously, though, we're in the middle of a cost of living crisis, and even with wages moving, so many people are still going to see the huge pressure of that crisis biting in their weekly budget and their household budgets. So we're really happy to see energy bill relief coming out in this federal budget, increase in rent assistance for those who need it. Income tax relief is a big one. But, looking to the future, the massive investment in the future of Australian innovation and manufacturing and the skilling our energy future, they are big positives to help make sure that we build better jobs and a better future for our communities.
Sounds like a pretty solid score coming, Dale. What are you giving?
Reasonably solid. We're going 8 out of 10.
All right, thank you, Dale. Dale Beasley from SA Unions. Andrew Kay is the CEO of Business SA. How'd the business community see it, Andrew?
Yeah, maybe not in the same light as Dale, gentlemen. I was at the Adelaide Oval on Sunday afternoon, and this budget leaves me with the same empty feeling as I had when the siren went at that time.
The dancing with your sister budget.
There's very little in this for small business here at all. While the local business community is bearing the cost of massive industrial relations reform that this government's burdened with, there's the extension of the $20,000 instant asset write-off, which is welcome, but a $325 energy rebate in a state that has the highest average small business electricity bill in the country, which is around $10.5K a year. That's not even going to power the coffee machine. Look, this effort only highlights the need for our state government to head down a path of a very business-friendly budget on June the 6th, and we look forward to that. I was going to give the budget a score of 4 out of 10, but seeing the Crows had to split the 4 points on Sunday, Jim came 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Thank you, thank you, Andrew. I feel like the game on the weekend's affected Andrew. He's
still in a bad mood.
Yeah, I think he is.
If we kick one extra point, I reckon Jim Chalmers might have got 5 out of 10.
Thank you for that. Let's go to Patricia Sparrow, who's the CEO of the Council on the Ageing. Patricia, how did we see the budget for older Australians?
Good morning. Well, there were some good measures in there for older Australians, and we're pleased to see the energy rebate. We think it would also be good, as our colleagues at Coda South Australia do, if the state government actually did a little bit more in that space in its budget on June the 6th, but we'll wait and see. But there are also some good relief measures for older people on medicine, so they're a freeze on the PBS, 5-year freeze on what pensioners and concession card holders will pay, and also a 10% increase in Commonwealth rent assistance. And people who are renting, older renters are doing it really tough, so that's particularly pleasing to see. There are a couple of things in the aged care space, so government committing to the pay rise, which is important. It's a feminised workforce on low pay, so it's important that that happens. And in residential care, there's going to be funding for state and territory governments to provide more healthcare, better hospital outreach, and we all saw the terrible gaps and flaws in health care for older people in residential aged care during the pandemic, so that's good. Not so good, though, was even though it was good that the government put in 24,100 additional home care packages, it's not quite enough investment, and they're actually diverting some funds from the Commonwealth Home Support Program to other programs, and people are often waiting for over a year for that support, and if they don't get it when they're at home, they go to hospital or they're forced into residential care, and some people unfortunately die waiting for support that never comes. So we think there's much more that needs to be done in that space. And we think people should be getting care within 30 days after being assessed. And the Aged Care Act did get a mention in the papers, which is really good. The government's going to see it commencing on 1 July 2025, but that's still 13 months away. And we need government to introduce the Act into Parliament, and we need parliamentarians to go through their proper scrutiny of the bill and have a community conversation and support it being passed by the end of this calendar year so it can be implemented. And it's really important because this will give older people rights in aged care, and it will give them certainty and security that what they're going to be asked to pay is fair and that the care they're getting is going to be there. So those are the really important things that we saw in the budget, amongst a myriad of other things.
So what do you give it out of 10, Patricia?
So it's really hard to give a score out of 10 because we cover so many different areas and it's a bit differential. So I'm going to steal from what your previous person did and say it's not the premiership winning Crows of years gone by, but there's a lot of highlights to it that you can enjoy.
Okay, so it's not 97, 98, it's more 2000 and,
Neil Craig era.
Yeah. It's a prelim final.
We've made the prelim yet again.
All right, that's not bad. I don't mind this new scoring system we're developing. The budget as seen through the lens of Crows fans. Will Frogley is the CEO of the Master Builders here in South Australia. Will, we started the show talking about housing being one of the... if not the critical issue facing the country at the moment and over the course of the next decade. How did you guys see it for housing and your sector more broadly?
Yeah, spot on. The budget certainly seeks to address some of our industry's biggest challenges. And the real related challenges we've got is we need to build a heck of a lot more homes and we don't have anywhere near enough people to build them. So it was good to see some targeted measures in this space. An additional $265 million over 4 years for apprentices and their employers, which was really good to see. And also investment in prioritising and streamlining skills assessment in construction for not only potential migrants, but also those who are already in Australia. They're desperately needed on the ground to get into fixing this housing shortage. There's also, I think there's $6.2 billion for new housing, and that's also going towards, helping state governments build more homes and student accommodation and critical infrastructure like water, sewerage, etc. So that was really good to see. It's really important just to pick up on. Oh, sorry. Just before I get to that, I would say one missed opportunity was probably there was nothing targeted for first home buyers. The cost of building has gone up significantly in recent years. So if we want to build all these homes, housing really has to be kept affordable, and it's so important. Just picking up on Andrew's point around business, it's so important that the budget is complemented by future policies by both state and federal governments that improve the macro environment for business. Everyone knows there's a cost of living squeeze. A lot less documented is the cost of doing business squeeze. They've got the cost of everything going up as well, and that's a risk to future employment. So, there's a heck of a lot of work that needs to be done to fix the housing shortage, and bottom line, it needs to be made as easy as possible for builders to build and to run a business. And now's definitely not the time to bring in new, complex, expensive regulations. So a lot of the time the devil's in the detail, and we've still got some questions to be answered, but I'm going to give it a 7 because it does have such a targeted focus on housing and skills.
Good on you, Will. Thank you. Will from the Master Builders. Perhaps the biggest question out of the budget is what will the impact be on not just headline inflation? We know that's going to come down because of the changes to power bills and rent, but what is the RBA going to make of it? Dr. Susan Stone is the Credit Union SA Economics Chair at the University of South Australia. Dr. Stone, on the question of inflation and what it's going to mean for mortgages, how did you see the budget?
Good morning. I really am not overly concerned, if I can just put it that way. The idea of the energy rebates and the rental assistance, the energy rebates, they won't really figure. I know technically they're going to cause inflation numbers to decline, but the RBA looks at things like core inflation, which doesn't include energy, volatile items like food and energy. It looks at underlying trends in costs. So it won't really come into their calculus very much. The tax cuts, as I've said before, I don't think they're going mainly to those, like the biggest increase in tax savings is going to be to those under 50,000 who are really doing it tough buying things like fuel and food. So I don't see that coming into their calculations very much. So I think it really will be these other infrastructure spending and other types of spending, the future made in Australia spending, but those aren't going to be coming online for another couple of years. So it may not have a very overly large impact in the next, say, 6 to 12 months.
Then, how do you, in terms of the Treasurer himself has framed this as something as a budget that fights inflation, is going to bring inflation down. On that measure, on that sort of rhetoric, how would you score it?
Well, as I said, technically it will, because if it lowers the price, if it gives people a rebate that lowers the cost of energy just because they're getting more money, it will just add up to be less. But as I said, if we're looking at the underlying core inflation, I don't think it's going to... I mean, we look at things that really have been driving inflation. We're looking at housing, and as your guest from the Master Builders Association said, there are measures in there. We have to see how it plays out. They can't conjure up new people, and that's what we really need to get the housing market going. So that's not going to have a big impact. What else is driving inflation is things like insurance, transport, and as I said, utilities. And the budget isn't going to do a lot to directly impact those. So, like, where I don't think it's going to put a whole lot more, I don't see it putting a great deal more pressure on inflation. I don't agree that it's going to be alleviating the underlying core inflation that the RBA is tracking.
So maybe an NA for the score, because it's sort of, it's neutral. It's neutral on the question of inflation.
Does not compute.
So.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Dr. Stone, from the University of South Australia, the Credit Union SA Economics Chair, thanks for your time. Just a quick wrap of the scores.
So a pretty mixed bag there. The unions loved it, 8 out of 10. I think the RBA might, if they heard how excited Dale Beasley was getting about the extravagant pay rises, nothing like we've ever seen when the Liberals were in power, they might have been wincing somewhat, but the unions loved it. Conversely, business gave it 2 out of 10. I actually think the Crows analogy, we've got to remember the Port listeners too. I think if you're looking for the Port Adelaide sort of equivalent, the unions liken this to the 2004 premiership, whereas business thought it was 2007 as far as Port's performance. Coda didn't give a number. Don't know why they never do. They're very number averse. But I think if we could put words in their mouth, it was a predominantly positive budget as far as they were concerned. Probably would have been about a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Will Frogley gave it a 7, and Dr. Susan Stone very astutely said, well, to your point earlier, Will, is this a case of the Treasurer trying to game the basket of goods that make up CPI? And if the Reserve Bank doesn't look at that, then has the whole thing actually been a bit of a non-event in terms of taking pressure off inflation?
Well, we'll ask Penny Wong that when she joins us just before 8 o'clock this morning.
A lot of listeners not buying this $300 power relief package either. Wayne says, g'day fellas, a grab on 5AA has Chalmers saying, we've reduced the price of power. He hasn't reduced the price of power. In fact, it will undoubtedly go up. All he's done is give a $300 rebate. And
do you want to have a laugh? Do you want to have a laugh on the power question? I went back and found the Powering Australia plan. This was the Albanese pre-election plan for the $275 that we've spoken to him about previously. The Powering Australia plan, election promise, will create jobs, reduce emissions, drive down the cost of electricity by upgrading infrastructure and boosting renewable energy production. Quoting from the plan, independent modelling shows Powering Australia will bring down household bills by $275 in 2025. Well, the plan hasn't, but they have.
By just giving money to people.
By giving taxpayers their money back.
But Wayne's right. It's not a structural change.
No, the power hasn't come down. Power's more expensive.
I wonder too whether the power companies might look at this and think we're now under less pressure to make it more affordable.
Yeah, Australians can stomach the next rise.
Whack
in power.
another $50 on it, will you?
Yeah, why not? All right, let's check traffic for the biggest range of outdoor furniture indoors. Visit the Outdoor Scene's new location, Wilton Avenue, Somerton Park.
Morning there at Myrtle Bank. Road closed due to a nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. Crossroad closed between Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road this morning. Expect big delays. Avoid that if you can on the drive-in. Got delays at Glandor at the moment too. Speeds at 40. South Road just over the overpass heading into the city. Road plates in use there. And cameras this morning. West Beach Road, West Beach and Marshall Terrace at Brooklyn Park. It's the end of financial year. Get the MY23 Volkswagen Amarok Core from $54,990 drive away with free 5-year care plan. Ends June 30. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
A trial conducted along South Road at Theberton, roughly 10% were using their phones. And then we wonder why there's so many accidents caused by distraction, people running into the car in front and all the rest. Don't use your phones for goodness sake while you're behind the wheel. It is common sense after all.
Matthew Pantelis.
If you cop a fine, well, if you're on your phone, you deserve it. Simple as that.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
2 grand prize homes, 2 grand prize winners. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery's 2 grand prizes in Henley Beach are life-changing. 2 fully furnished, mortgage-free Scott Salisbury homes, and both include $100,000. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. That means you can have your cake and eat it too. 2 grand prize homes, 2 grand prize winners, and it's never too early to buy tickets. Homelottery.com.au. Licence M14548.
If you want to get off-road with confidence, make sure your four-wheel drive is TJM equipped. Now's the time to do it with big savings on Lovell's GVM and BTC kits and get up to 22% off kit prices. Save over $1,000 on selected vehicle kits, including a wide range of vehicles from Ford Rangers, Toyota Prado, Toyota Land Cruiser 70 Series and 200 Series. You better hurry though, it's on while stocks last, only at TJM Nailsworth and Clavelli Park. Some T's and C's apply.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
We all know how dangerous undiagnosed sleep apnea can be on our health.
SA's own Respirico Healthcare has been supporting South Australians for 20 years. As well as with no out-of-pocket expense, In-Home Sleep Studies Respirico can now offer a 100-day money-back guarantee on Philips DreamStation CPAP devices. Now there's no excuse for not treating sleep apnea with a risk-free trial at Respirico Healthcare. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
Companies and small business that use one solution for their IT management, cybersecurity and AI implementation are always ahead of the curve and ready for anything. One Solution is local too, a full-service technology company right here in Adelaide, offering a diverse range of solutions across IT, telecommunications, phone and mobile systems, cybersecurity and AI. Today, more than ever, it's important to safeguard your business. Do it with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
27 minutes after 7, let's check in with Jade Robran again, who's at the scene of this truck rollover on Cross Road that's causing all sorts of traffic issues this morning. Jade, what's the scene now as people start to try to make their way through the area?
Well, it is chockers out here, so I'm looking down Fullerton Road between Crossroads is closed, and then Portrush Road, the traffic is banked all the way back. Glen Osmond Road, well, they're banked up all the way, past the toll road. I can't get past any further than that, but it is absolutely chock-a-block and will be for some time yet. But some good news, police have just told me about 30 seconds ago that the westbound lane down Crossroads will be open in about 10 minutes' time. They're just doing a bit of a sweep of the area right now, so that will ease congestion somewhat. But if you are coming down the down track of the freeway, please do try and take an alternative route, because that big truck that crashed into the wall at the bottom of the freeway, it has caused absolute traffic chaos. Now, that outbound lane will remain closed for probably most of the day because that truck has crashed into the wall, which is now structurally unsafe. So we're going to have engineers, major crashes just arrived. There's a very strong police presence. They're going to have to take a look at this wall. It will have to come down, and being a cement truck, it has rolled over on its side and there is cement spilled all over the road, so there is a huge clean-up ahead of them today. But the truck driver, some good news there. He has been taken to hospital. He had a CT scan, which has revealed he has got some fractures but will be okay. Now, if you are catching a bus, there has been some changes to some routes heading down. So bus stop 100, 170 and 300 will be taking alternative routes and won't be stopping down Crossroad. And again, we guys, you have to question some people's brains, I think, sometimes in times like this, where we're hearing reports that people are obviously trying to get to work. We get that, you're being held up, but people are trying to take, shortcuts through Myrtle Bank and fanging it down side streets. Please don't do that. Be safe. We don't need a fatality at this time of the morning either. So, just take your time and take an alternative route, because all traffic along Crossroad, as we speak right now, guys, that has just opened up. I've got cars driving in front of me, so that westbound lane heading down Crossroad has just opened up. So a police escort is taking about 4 cars down there right now. So again, that will ease some of the congestion this morning, but it is still, like I said, absolutely chockers here.
All right, that's great information. Breaking news there. Thank you, Jade. So for westbound, there's a one lane open. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come and congestion can start to ease, because it is just a critical part of the road network there, that Crossroad, and people coming from the hills and so forth. So hopefully that'll get cleared up as soon as possible. Good news on the driver too, who we understand, while suffering serious injuries, will be okay. 7:30, 5AA News is coming up. Sean Fuster in just a moment as we go round the courts, and also South Australian Senator Penny Wong, our Foreign Minister, and we're going to talk to her about the federal budget released last night.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today. With the 7:30 news, I'm Graham Goodings.
hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. physioextra.com.
As you've heard from David and Will, it's chaos at the bottom of the freeway after another truck crash. Jade Robin is there and says the cement truck lost control just before 4 a.m.
The truck has turned onto Crossroads and just smashed straight into the wall of where the fountain is at the bottom of the freeway. And there is concrete that has been just spilled right across the road here. So they've got those bags of that spill stop econo the police have thrown across the road. You can see bricks have fallen onto the ground. So this area is going to be closed for most of the day because that is just simply not safe at all and will have to come down.
The truck driver, a 65-year-old Millicent man, had to be cut from the wreckage. He's been taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The Prime Minister is defending the federal government's decision to offer all households a $300 rebate on their energy bills. It was one of the signature policies announced in last night's budget and will cost $3.5 billion. Welfare groups have criticised the measure, arguing wealthy families should not be receiving the benefit. But Anthony Albanese has told Today people are feeling the pinch across all income scales.
We want to make sure that every Australian gets support during what is a cost of living pressures which everyone is feeling. So we have in this, at the centre of this budget, a tax cut for every taxpayer, energy bill relief for every household.
The budget also includes a 10% increase in Commonwealth rent assistance for low-income households, a goal of getting 80% of all workers a tertiary qualification by 2050, and help for graduates to pay off their HECS debt sooner. In other news, police are investigating a fatal stabbing at Coober Pedy. A 46-year-old man from Indulkana was stabbed in the chest in Hutchison Street yesterday afternoon. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says he died later in hospital.
Patrols quickly located and arrested a 47-year-old Cooper Pedy man nearby. It's understood both parties are known to each other and we're not seeking any further suspects. So this man's been charged with murder and he'll be appearing before the Cooper Pedy Magistrates Court today.
South Australian veteran and defence families are being formally acknowledged in a day of recognition for the heroes behind the heroes. Commencing today, Veterans Families Day will be officially marked on the 15th of May each year in South Australia to recognise the contributions and personal sacrifices of current and former Australian Defence Force families. Veterans Affairs Minister Joe Sockarch says the recognition is an Australian first.
Thank you to the families and the loved ones of current and serving defence personnel. We have such a long tradition in our state of supporting and celebrating our veterans, and today we say a very special thank you to their families, the true heroes behind the heroes.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Tom Wren, a big game for the Crows coming up this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be massive. I think you've got to be there as well, Graham. I cannot wait for it. Yeah, it should be a beauty against Collingwood, the reigning premiers at the MCG on Saturday. An absolute ripper now. Unfortunately, the Crows will have to replace the defender Josh Worrell, who's had surgery to repair his broken arm. Still, unfortunately, he's going to miss up to 3 months. Now, forward Ned McHenry, he's told Rowie and Timmy G he still doesn't know how to feel following Sunday's draw against Brisbane.
I looked around and I saw people leaving very quickly from the stadium, like kind of grabbing their bits and pieces and popping out, which obviously when you win doesn't happen. Everyone sticks around and high-fives everyone. So instinctually as a player, then you go, it is a disappointing result, isn't it? We didn't win a game there that was to win. But then, you reflect on it and, I don't know. I don't know how to sit.
Port's players will also train this morning as they prepare for Sunday's match at Adelaide Oval against Hawthorn. Lockie Jones won't return from a hamstring injury and is set to miss at least another week. To soccer, and Manchester City looks set to win a 4th straight EPL title after beating Tottenham 2-0 this morning. The result leaves City 2 points clear of Arsenal with just the 1 game to play. And world number 2 golfer Rory McIlroy has filed for divorce in the week of the US PGA Championship. That major will begin tomorrow night, our time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
Morning there at Myrtle Bank. Road closed due to a nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. Crossroad closed between Glen Osmond Road and Fullerton Road this morning. Expect big delays. Avoid that if you can on the drive-in. Got delays at Glandor at the moment too. Speeds at 40. South Road just over the overpass heading into the city. Road plates in use there. And cameras this morning. West Beach Road, West Beach and Marshall Terrace at Brooklyn Park. It's the end of financial year. Get the MY23 Volkswagen Amarok Core from $54,990 drive away with free 5-year care plan. Ends June 30. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video. Direct to you from your Automasters technician.
Partly cloudy 22 today. Tomorrow partly cloudy 22. Friday partly cloudy 21. Then Saturday, mostly sunny at 18. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ignition for Men. Adelaide's home of luxury menswear offer an impeccable range of men's attire for work, to celebrate and play. Global brands from E7, Replay, Hugo Boss and Karl Lagerfeld to Canali, Tremorosa Jeans, Emporio Armani and more, including shirts, footwear, jackets and denim. They have it all. If it's casual with style, you'll find it at Ignition for Men, 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. ignitionformen.com.au.
Here's 2 reasons to rush into Formula Honda. 1. Enjoy reduced drive-away prices on select grades for the Honda ZR-V and CR-V only while stocks last. 2. Get a bonus 8 years warranty and 8 years roadside assist on select grades until the end of this financial year. Hurry into Formula Honda while stocks and savings last. Find us at Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond or North East Road, Modbury. T's and C's apply.
Now, home maintenance can be tricky. It can be beyond tricky. It can be a total pain. You need to know a plumber, an electrician, a handyman and a renovator, or you can just choose one. The great people at Precise Plumbing and Electrical, you can get in touch with them on 1300 700 200.
From plumbing and electrical work to heater installations to switchboard upgrades in time for the extra winter load, they've been doing it all for over 25 years with thousands of happy customers.
And look, don't forget the smoke alarms. Now's the time to get them checked going into winter. Precise Plumbing and Electrical will give you a fixed price up front, so there's zero chance of surprises. Plus, they offer a lifetime workmanship warranty.
If you need anything electrical done around your home, call Precise Plumbing and Electrical on 1300 700 200. With 700 plus Google reviews and an average of 4.9 stars, you're in safe hands. That number again, 1300 700 200.
Join the great cover-up and get a Woolco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Woolco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. Put your pool to bed for winter. Visit woolco.com.au.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes to wait. Foreign Minister Penny Wong coming up very shortly. But first, let's go around the courts.
It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
Sean joining us over the phone this morning. That is because Mark Hayden is in court. Sean will be there covering it. Sean, good morning to you. What are you expecting this morning?
Good morning, guys. Look, I don't know quite what I'm expecting out of the Hayden matter today. This thing has been all over the shop like a dog's breakfast. The government has moved in so quickly to try to get control orders placed on Hayden in time for his release off parole, from the complete expiration of his sentence at the end of the month. But last time we were in court, we heard that the key psychological report they need to prove their claims that he remains a danger to the community isn't going to be ready till June or July of this year.
What's the explanation for that? It seems like an extraordinary delay given that they knew this one was well and truly coming.
The problem, Pembo, is the fact that this extraordinary delay is the standard. There are so many psych reports needed for so many different matters and only a limited number of forensic psychs that are actually capable, qualified and available to do this work that you simply enter the queue. And you can't rush Hayden to the top of the queue just because of his imminent release date if there's someone ahead of him whose matter is a murder or a child sex abuse case or something else that's already progressing through the court. I say you simply take the number and join the queue. So what today will probably be And again, I don't know what we're going to have with this one. But what today will probably be is some sort of argument on whether or not the court is prepared to place an interim supervision order on Hayden so that he can be released at the end of the month, at the expiration of his sentence, be under temporary parole-like conditions until full hearing on permanent parole-like conditions can be put down in place sometime in June, July, or possibly even August.
Hey, Sean, I'm sure you heard, we had a really powerful interview yesterday with Carolyn, the daughter of the late Rolly Higgins. She was talking about the great work that you had done covering this case where Janine Lusher has been given the most extraordinarily soft punishment for what she did, despite showing absolutely no remorse over the fact that her driving had killed this former police officer. We were just bombarded with messages from people talking about how, things like unregistered old trailers, poorly connected, like just the most minuscule misdemeanours that people had committed, attracting vastly tougher punishments than that which was meted out in this case. It's hard to wrap your head around it, isn't it?
It's been hard to wrap my head around this for 20 years, and you probably also saw, guys, the story about the advertiser's own Paul Starrick, who was involved in an incident the other day. And, there's certain limits on what we can say about that due to other legal matters, but I encourage everybody to go read the story. We were talking about this in the Tizer newsroom, and everyone was having very similar reactions to both of yourselves and to all of the listeners that have reached out. And I said to them, guys, you're preaching to the converted. I've been singing this song for 20 years. The death by dangerous driving laws in this state are not broken, but there is a disconnect between what those laws say and how they're applied in court. The idea that we have the ability to send people away for life for an aggravated offence, for 15 years for a basic offence, but then we have that massive 93% drop down in penalty severity when it turns into aggravated due care. And we have, of course, Sophia's law, which now exists to try to fill that gap. But nobody's been charged with Sophia's law yet, and nothing's happened for that to be tested in court. So we don't even know from a legal perspective whether that wonderful law brought in by amazing people is actually going to have the effect that we need it to, because everything goes all the way back to that old decision involving the Ralph family, where the full court said every case has to be judged on its individual merits and there's no such thing as a tariff. And you had some judges saying, well, it's extremely disheartening to have to jail killer drivers because, these are ordinary people who've made a mistake. My response to that is aggravated driving without due care is supposed to be the mistake. Death by dangerous driving is the criminal act. And when something like the Lusher matter is able to be plea bargained down to death by dangerous driving, you end up with this disconnect between what the law says, what judges and magistrates do, and what the community expects. There's an inconsistency there that needs to be resolved somehow.
How would it be resolved? Would it have to be like a judicial review or something like that in a case like this, or is this one of those things where it's like, well, under the existing laws, there's nothing that could be done anyway?
Well, that's a really interesting question, Pemba, and not to play spoiler, but that's something that Daniel and I are going to be discussing on Just Lawful in the next couple of weeks. We're actually working on a series right now, which is the complete history of causing death by dangerous driving, where the law came from, how it's been used, examples of cases, and what needs to happen going forward. So that's something that we're going to explore. And again, to give you a bit of a spoiler, I don't know that there is an answer, because no matter what legislators do to try to upgrade the legislation and alter it, it can't fight against this precedent set by the Ralph case. I'm not sure whether some judge somewhere is going to need to grasp the nettle and say, enough is enough, we need to look at this again, or whether the government needs to do something legislatively to try to kick that in force. But of course, that then gets in the way of judicial independence and the right of the court to make its own determinations free of government. I just can't see a way out of this one at the moment, and I haven't been able to see a way out of this one for the past 20 years. It's one of the biggest frustrations of my career, because wonderful people like Carolyn are left bereaved in these situations, not only by the loss of, in her case, her father or their loved one, but by the sentencing outcomes that are handed down by courts.
Yeah, 100%. Great stuff as always, Sean. Sean Fuster there, the Chief Court Reporter for the Adelaide Advertiser.
We're getting a few messages through from people reporting we're having some technical issues on the DAB digital stream. So if you're listening on the digital radio this morning, we've just a few reports. There's some issues there. We're looking into it and hoping to get it fixed. If it is frustrating you, you can jump on the FIVEAA Player app, which you can download at your app store, get it for free, and you'll be listening. You'll be crystal clear. It'll sound magnificent. It won't be an issue. Otherwise, if you're on a little transistor radio or some such, you can listen on the AM band. But the DAB is having some gremlins this morning, we understand. So we'll get that fixed up as soon as possible. Thank you to the people who have alerted to that issue to us. A reminder, the FIVEAA Player app. Just go to the App Store on your phone. And you can download it and have a listen for free. 15 minutes to 8, we're going to check traffic and come back with Foreign Minister Penny Wong in just a moment. For the biggest range of outdoor furniture indoors, visit the Outdoor Scene's new location, Wilton Avenue, Somerton Park.
Thanks, Will. Seeing delays after that nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. They're still clearing that up, and we still have roads closed at Myrtle Bank. Crossroad closed between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Avoid that if you can this morning. They'll only get busier. Busy at the moment, Seaview Downs, Majors Road to Adams Road, and slow South Road to Glandorf for road works just after the overpass, speeds at 40. Got a camera this morning, Cherry Gardens Road at Cherry Gardens. Click Frenzy is on at Footy Winks. Get 50% off mattresses and 30% off bedroom furniture online or in store. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. Exclusions and T&Cs apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The biggest threat to your business isn't your competition. It's cybercrime. Cybercrime threats impacting Australian businesses, large and small, continues to grow year on year. One call to one solution will put your business in a safe place and save you from the devastating consequences of cybercrime. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Stay safe and protected. Get in touch with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
Hi, supercar driver Dave Reynolds here for our mates at Toyota Forklifts. Order any new electric forklift from Toyota's massive range of walkie stackers, reach and counterbalance forklifts and go into the draw to win the ultimate supercars experience for you and 3 mates. Win 4 VIP tickets to a supercars event, accommodation, flights, hospitality, merch and more. For more details, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
T&Cs apply. Offer ends July 31st.
The 5AA studio is a bit like a playground, and like most playgrounds, they get a little messy. It says more about perhaps the people that work in the studio than the studio. It's always a sore point, and there are large amounts of all staff emails that go around. But that's not the issue here. Corporate clean and studios are always ready for another day. 5AA is one of over 200 businesses that they clean throughout South Australia.
And they do a terrific job. An unclean workplace leads to more absences, less productivity. Studies have revealed that desktops can be as unsanitary as the bathrooms. Well, not in offices cleaned by Corporate Clean. They don't cut corners, they clean them.
Corporate Clean are a locally owned business with over 30 years of experience cleaning all types of office settings. There's no one better suited for the job. For a free quote and assessment, go to corporateclean.com.au.
Gone are the days of bulky solar panels. NRG Solar is ushering in a new era of sleek, efficient solar technology. With just a few panels, harness the power of the sun like never before. The equation is simple. More efficiency, more savings. Join the revolution with NRG Solar. Discover simplicity at 1275 South Road St Mary's or online at nrgsolar.com.au. NRG Solar, for a brighter, more sustainable tomorrow.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T&Cs apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Minutes to 8 after 8 o'clock this morning. Breaking out, the Police Commissioner Grant Stevens is going to join us live in the studio. But first, we're joined on the phone by Foreign Minister Penny Wong in the morning after the federal budget. Minister, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for
good morning to you and to your listeners.
Thanks for joining us, Minister. So this is the third budget, potentially the last one, maybe the second last one before the election. I'm sure that if there is a date, you're not going to tell us what it is in a live radio interview. But I guess the key question with this budget is it inflationary or not?
Look, it's a tough environment to do a budget in because you've got to look at what you have to do now, which is to ease cost of living, but you've got to do it in a way that doesn't put pressure on inflation, and you also have to look to the future. You've got to invest in the future. So those are three things we try to do in the budget. The first priority is easing cost of living pressures. And the centrepiece of that is obviously $300 in energy bill relief for every Australian household, which is, recognising what's happening with energy bill prices. But we have to do it in a way that puts downward pressure on inflation. And if you look at what we've done, investment in rent assistance and energy price relief, that Treasury says that does put downward pressure on inflation. And we've also got to invest in the future. We've got a big transition to make. And Adelaide and South Australia knows about changing economies. We've moved from the car industry to a very different sort of economy. We've got to do something even bigger nationally as we move to a net zero economy at 2050. And that means we've got to make sure we can gain the jobs and industries of that economy. And that's what Future Made in Australia is about.
So it's not arguable. The measures in the budget will bring down headline inflation. They'll bring down that headline CPI number, but the Reserve Bank looks at the core inflation. They look at those underlying factors. What do you think the budget, what message does it send to the Reserve Bank Governor and Michelle Bullock, do you think?
Well, the Reserve Bank is independent and they have to do their job and we have to do our job. What I can say to you is that as we were sitting around the Cabinet table looking at this, we were very conscious both of the importance of the imperative of making sure we gave some cost of living relief to Australians. People are really doing it tough, and that's why we have the energy bill relief. But doing this in a way that didn't add to inflation, as you said, that's what the Treasury advice is. The Treasury advice, factoring in this budget, has inflation returning to the band that you try and aim for at the end of this calendar year. That now, obviously, that's a forecast. But we act on the advice that Treasury gives us in how we craft this package to try and meet those objectives: cost of living, downward pressure on inflation, and investment in the future.
So then, why do millionaires get the $300 off their power bill?
Well, look, some of the measures in the budget are targeted. Obviously, rent assistance is targeted. The cheaper medicines is much more.
Why not
It
power?
is for everybody, but is targeted to pensioners and concession card holders. I mean, that the reality is cost of living pressure goes a long way up the income scale, and as the Treasurer said, what it is the simplest way to provide this relief is to make it across the board.
One point that a lot of our listeners are making, Minister, is the cost of power. In a real sense, the actual cost of power hasn't come down as a result of this budget. I mean, it might sound silly because the government's giving us money, so it has come down in a at the checkout type sense, but the actual sort of underpinnings of the energy market, which was the pre-election promise, was power's going to be $275 cheaper under a Labor government. That was going to be as a result of structural policies. This is more just every player wins a prize, here comes your cheque for $300. It sort of feels like all of the uncertainty around the energy mix at the moment, some of the inconsistencies where we'll happily send, allegedly toxic minerals, coal and so forth overseas to prop up the budget bottom line, but we're not allowed to use it anymore in Australia. We've got Labor governments like in Victoria banning domestic gas. It feels like structurally the energy system is still a bit of a mess, but everyone's just getting a $300 cheque.
Well, first, you're right to say that we've all got a big job, and the government and the states in particular have got a big job to do when it comes to changing, all of the reforms in energy around supply. And we did inherit a system where we saw energy capacity exit the system and no new capacity entering. And that's because we had 10 years of conflict inside the Liberal Party, 22 plus of energy policies. Now they've got a nuclear energy policy, which left the market with no certainty about where to invest and what to invest in. And it left investments in the grid, that is how we get energy from one place to another, behind the eight ball. Now, what we have done is worked very hard to bring more energy capacity into the system, to give certainty around gas, both to firm up renewables, As we outlined last week in the Future Gas Strategy, we've got measures to improve the grid that we're investing in. So I think where we are compared to where we would have been is better. But you're right. We know that transition is happening, but while it's happening, we've still got energy prices high. We've had a very large shock to the global economy as a consequence of the Ukraine-Russia war. So we have to provide, and we want to provide, cost of living relief in the interim, and that's what this budget does. $300 for every household in Australia, and just a bit more for small businesses as well.
The other critical issue in Australia at the moment is the housing crisis. Looking at the migration figures in the budget for this financial year, 23-24, 395,000 more people. Next financial year, 260,000. Then in 2025-26, another 255,000 people. How is it possible we're going to build enough houses for all these people?
Well, first, those figures are a reduction from where we were trending previously.
But still, it's a net increase.
Sure. And Australia has run a net migration increase for most years, obviously not in the COVID years. And some of that, as you know, is students. We are investing a very, very large amount across many programs in housing. You're right, we have real problems with affordable housing and real problems with housing supply, which is affecting the market more broadly. So there's new investment of housing of over $6 billion in this budget. We've got additional monies to the states and territories to deliver housing, additional concessional finance for social and affordable housing, additional finance for additional incentives for student accommodation, which the Treasurer spoke about in his speech. So there are measures to try and improve the housing market at the same time as trying to moderate the migration numbers.
Penny Wong, Foreign Minister and Senator for South Australia, thanks for joining us today in the wake of the Albanese government's third budget, and we'll do the same after Peter Dutton does his address and reply. We'll probably talk to Simon Birmingham after that. Thanks for joining us, Penny.
And, no worries, good to speak with you both.
You too. And look, just for the benefit of everyone, not that there were millions of you, but we had a few texts going, can you get in or about Palestine, too soft on Hamas or not hard enough on Israel or vice versa. Others saying, can you ask questions about China? We deliberately kept it specifically about the federal budget and its impact on Australians, frankly, because we could have spent the next 9 hours talking about the situation in Gaza. This is not SBS World News, this is the 5AA Breakfast Show.
Well, everything, that topic comes, you ask about that and then you get to hear about what the future plan is for housing. You ask about that, and you don't get to hear about what's the future of the energy market. So
that's right.
You've got to make trade-offs.
Speaking of Palestine, Graham has called in, and locally there's a Free Palestine protest underway at Cormac Road, Wingfield. There's about 100 people there.
What's the significance of that location?
I was trying to work that out. Maybe there's a Israeli-backed business there or something. They might be what are they called? BDS, boycott, divest, something else. Crowd, who knows? But yeah, Wingfield, out at Wingfield, and there's about 20 police cars apparently. We might ask the police commissioner about this after 8:30 when he joins us, Grant Stevens, because the police have had a bit of extra work on their plate with these various tent embassies that have popped up, one down the road at Adelaide Uni.
Okay. Well, a question for the Police Commissioner among many this morning. It's going to be a fascinating chat after 8:30. Stick around. 5AA News is coming up. Breaking at 8 next.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. For fixed price services, call Precise.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Humans once spent hours starting fires, scrubbing dishes, and washing laundry, until appliances made it easy. Even choosing your appliance is easy thanks to Adelaide Appliance Gallery. They make life easier with the best advice, the best appliances, and the best deals on SMEG. Choose from SMEG's range of kitchen appliances and you'll save up to $3,000. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Payneham Road, St Peters.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Physio, Pilates, hydro, massage, podiatry and exercise classes. Physio Extra's Holistic Care. PhysioExtra.com.
A big clean-up's underway at the bottom of the freeway after a cement truck ploughed into a wall near the fountain and rolled. Jade Robrin is there.
We're going to have engineers. Major crashes just arrived. There's a very strong police presence. They're going to have to take a look at this wall. It will have to come down, and being a cement truck, it has rolled over on its side and there is cement spilled all over the road, so there is a huge clean-up ahead of them today. But the truck driver, some good news there. He has been taken to hospital. He had a CT scan which has revealed he has got some fractures but will be okay.
All households will receive a $300 energy rebate as part of a suite of cost of living measures announced in the budget. Federal Politics editor Michael Packey.
Treasurer Jim Chalmers believes he'll be able to bring inflation under control by the end of this year by offering every Australian household a one-off $300 power bill rebate. But Cassandra Goldie from the Council of Social Service says the measure is reckless, arguing some people don't need the help.
That is actually going to go to the wealthiest households as well.
But Dr Chalmers is defending the move.
We think that these cost of living pressures are being felt up and down the income scale.
The budget also includes further rent assistance for low-income earners, and the cost of some medicines on the pharmaceutical benefits scheme will be frozen for up to 5 years, with pensioners and concession card holders paying only $7.70 per script. In Canberra, Michael Packey, 9 News.
There's a boost for several SA road projects in the federal budget. $120 million in funding has been reinstated for Mount Barker and Verdun interchanges. Mayo MP Rebecca Sharkey glad to see the hills haven't been forgotten.
There's also some money for black spot funding for road safety that's, critical across South Australia's regional roads.
Andrew Kay, CEO of Business SA, told David and Will there's very little in the budget for small businesses in South Australia.
While the local business community is bearing the cost of massive industrial relations reform that this government's burdened with, there's the extension of the $20,000 instant asset write-off, which is welcome, but a $325 energy rebate in a state that has the highest average small business electricity bill in the country, which is around $10.5K a year. That's not even going to power the coffee machine.
Major crime detectives will fly from Adelaide to Coober Pedy this morning following a fatal stabbing. A 47-year-old man was arrested and charged late yesterday following the death of a 46-year-old man. The victim was found with a stab wound to the chest but died later in hospital. The pair were known to each other. The suspect will face court later today. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Adelaide's chances of keeping their finals hopes alive rest on a vital game against Collingwood at the MCG on Saturday. They'll go into the game without key defender Josh Worrell, who is out with a broken arm. Meantime, Pies midfielder Jack Crisp is confident the Magpies can stand up to the club's injury woes. Forwards Jamie Elliott, Jordan De Goey, Beau McCreary and Brody Myercheck are all out through injury. Crisp telling Wide World of Sports players are being asked to adapt.
Will Hoskin Elliott started off from the start of the first quarter and then he ended up playing the whole rest of the game because Howie went down. So it's just different blokes being able to adapt and play different roles. We do have a few blokes who are versatile and can play tall or small. So we've been lucky with that, and then also lucky we have those young guys that know how to play those roles when they come in and into the team.
And Port Adelaide will be keeping a close eye on several players at training this morning, with Connor Rosie, Jace Burgoyne and Jordan Sweet all a chance to return against Hawthorn on Sunday. Australian Alex de Minaur has been beaten by Stefanos Tsitsipas 6-1, 6-2 in the round of 16 at the Italian Tennis Open. Meantime, Aussies Isla Tomljanovic and Adam Walton have both been granted wildcards for the upcoming French Open. Manchester City's in the box seat ahead of the final day of the English Premier League season following a 2-0 win against Tottenham this morning. Arsenal will need to beat Everton on Monday morning our time and hope City fails to win against West Ham in order to snatch the title. And the NBA playoffs will resume in just over an hour with the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers set to meet in Game 5 of their best-of-7 series. It's currently all square at 2-2. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
At Meadowbank, got a road closed and a clean-up happening after a nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. Crossroad closed between Fullerton and Glen Osmond Road. Avoid the area as you'll be going nowhere fast. Slow at the moment at Blair Russell Street near Sheoak Road for works, and getting busy at Glandore South Road there just after the overpass. Speeds at 44 roadworks. Cameras, Grand Junction Road, Rosewater and Military Road at Westlake Shore. Get your wardrobe winter ready. Headed to TK Maxx in Pasadena, Harbour Town, Westlakes and Kilburn's Churchill Centre this week. TK Maxx, big brands, small prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
Partly cloudy 22 today, 22 tomorrow and partly cloudy. Friday partly cloudy 21 and Saturday mostly sunny 18. Right now it's 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Beechwood Homes, Adelaide's leading bespoke home builder, celebrates 35 years. Over that time, they've helped many hundreds of people realise their dream of building a home exactly how they envisioned it. That's the wonderful thing about building with Beechwood. There are no set plans, no set rules. It all starts with a pen, paper, and your ideas. Just like it did 35 years ago. If you can dream it, Beechwood Homes can build it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. To beat the summer heat, Yes can connect you with a new air conditioner thanks to the SA government initiative called REPS. Yes is offering eligible concession households a fully installed 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $8.99. Yes, $8.99. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yess.net.au.
Receive your golden ticket and win at Solitaire Volkswagen. Choose your demonstrator Volkswagen passenger or commercial vehicle. Have it delivered by June 30 and you will receive your exclusive golden ticket where you can instantly win up to $5,000 off your Volkswagen. 100 prizes up for grabs with a combined value over $40,000. Visit Solitaire Volkswagen in Hawthorne and Medindi today for your chance to win. Hurry, ends Saturday 25 May. SA permit T24/795. Full T's and C's at solitairevolkswagen.com.au. DL 65541.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, if you're tuning in for 5AA Breakfast budget coverage, you'll be able to listen to the 5AA Breakfast podcast over the course of the day, wherever you get your podcast from. And over the course of the last hour, we did our big budget wrap featuring key stakeholders, unions representing workers, Business SA, Council on the Ageing. We spoke with Susan Stone from UniSA, economics professor, with regard to the inflation question. We also chatted with master builders about the housing problems, and Penny Wong was on the show too in the last hour of the show, so that'll all be available a little bit later today. Coming up this hour, Police Commissioner Grant Stevens, lots to talk to him about on the show, including that protest. 20 police cars. It's a lot of resources get committed to a protest that's taking place in Wingfield at the moment by the Free Palestine people. And we'll get to some more of your calls and texts in just a moment as well. There's a stack of those coming through. First, it's Breaking 8.
Well, we wanted to set Breaking at 8 aside this morning for one of the genuinely unadorned good news stories for the people of South Australia, particularly in the Adelaide Hills, in last night's budget, which is namely that you remember a year or so ago they did that 90-day review of all federal infrastructure spending and put a big black line through a whole bunch of stuff, including the long-awaited upgrades of the Mount Barker and Verdun interchanges, and also extra money to spruce up the southeastern freeway. Well, particularly apt that we're discussing this morning, given the the chaos that's still unfolding on account of that cement truck that's tipped over at the bottom of the freeway. The good news is that last night in the budget, Jim Chalmers reinstated $220 million of that money that had been pulled from infrastructure spending. It includes $120 million to upgrade both the Mount Barker and Verdun interchanges and another $100 million to upgrade the Southeastern Freeway. This has been music to the ears of the local member, Rebecca Sharkey, the independent member for Mayo, who joins us now. Rebecca, good morning, and I'm sure you've been having a bit of a quiet word in the Treasurer's ear whenever you bump into him at Aussies or in the corridors at Parliament. This is a big win for Hills residents, though, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it certainly is. And yes, I have. I actually sat down with the Treasurer, but for the last year, really lobbying to keep this funding. And particularly, as you say, when we had that 90-day review that dragged on, and then we got the news that we lost the money. And I was pretty cranky, I think, when I was talking to you last time about that. But it's good news. And myself, Dan Cregan, we've just been working this to every person that has any kind of pull on this. I've actually got a meeting, bringing a delegation over with the mayors and Dan Cregan in a couple of weeks to meet with Catherine King, the minister. That was going to be, yet another avenue of advocacy, but hopefully we can get a bit more detail. Obviously, the federal government gives the money to the state government, so it ultimately becomes a debt project, but I'm keen to see if we can get a bit more detail on exactly what this money's for, but very pleased the money's back in there for the Hills.
From what you know about it, do you think that the figures that were unveiled last night, is that going to be enough to achieve what needs to be achieved? And indeed, what is it that needs to be achieved?
Well, look, I don't know the answer to whether it'll be enough, and if it's not enough, then my advocacy work continues. Certainly, this money was originally promised, really for best part of 4 years ago. So obviously the cost of delivering a project has escalated dramatically since then, no matter what the project is, residential, commercial. So if it's not enough, I'll continue pushing for that, but this is certainly welcome. What needs to happen? Well, the Verdun interchange, where you've got one way off to go on to effectively Harndorf or Onkaparinga Valley Road, that was built in 1974, so it's 50 years old. That desperately needs an upgrade, because if you're coming from Mount Barker, Murray Bridge, you can't then get onto Onkaparinga Valley Road. You have to go the long way and get off at Bridgewater, turn around and go back again. And I think we actually lose a lot of interstate tourists who find it too hard to work out how to get off the freeway to then travel up through the vineyards or even to get to Harndorf. And, of course, the Mount Barker interchange between Littlehampton and Mount Barker and Totnes is actually really dangerous. I feel very nervous every time I need to turn right coming from Littlehampton to get onto the freeway, and I don't take the exit if I'm looking to then turn right, getting off the freeway to then turn right into Littlehampton. So it was just never created for a township of 30,000 plus people. So it's really welcome the money's in there. We need to know the detail. I'd like to thank everyone in the community who has continued this push with me and Dan Cregan and our local government. So it's a good win. We just need to get a bit more detail. And if it's not enough, well, the advocacy continues.
Topical this morning too, Rebecca, not just for the budget last night, but for the crash at the bottom of the freeway. Getting lots of texts from listeners who live in the hills like this, from Ryan in Mount Barker, who says, how many times has the wall at the bottom of the freeway had to be repaired? I'm sick and tired of only having the freeway as an option to come down to the city every day. Currently on Sheoak Road, trying to get onto Old Belair Road, and that too is backed up. We need rail, says Ryan in Mount Barker. Now, I know you've just had one big win. How far away do you think, in all seriousness, though, we are from having to have a much bigger picture conversation about what we do about the size of the population in the hills and other means of getting into the city?
Look, I would dearly love rail. And the thing is we used to have rail. We had rail going up to Mount Barker until the mid-'80s, and then the government of the day said that it wasn't, patronised enough and pulled up the line, pulled up the line, couldn't have it anymore. and now we've only got the freight rail that goes through the hills. There has been many conversations about this. I know Dan Cregan's been a very strong advocate. I've had meetings in the past with DIT push this, as well as with Infrastructure Australia and the South Australian arm of that. They say that we don't have enough of a population, but it's so frustrating because whether it's here or Aldinga, we keep, and that's also in Mayo, we keep putting more and more people into our community and say the infrastructure will come. We actually kind of need it to be the other way around.
Yeah,
put
totally.
the infrastructure in, and then you put the people in. And we need that investment. I'm very keen to support anything that we can do to get cars off the road and get people to get in there. I've got to say, as a person who does travel down the freeway itself is one thing, but the bigger question is Glen Osmond Road, because as soon as you hit that, you hit a car park, and Port Rush Road, and even Crossroads. It's when you travel in other states, I think of Brisbane in particular, that a lot of it is unfortunately toll roads, but they do have an extraordinary freeway system and link where every time they build a freeway, from what I can see, as a visitor, they put in trains and they put in bus rails right next to it, so you can effectively, just get on that bus and it's a free go. It doesn't get held up by traffic.
You mentioning Aldinga, Rebecca, I mean, the Glen Osmond parallel down there is we've got a Crackerjack Southern Expressway. Now we're going to have that great bit extending on from Seaford through to Sellex, but the middle bit, where you come out at Old Nollunga, everyone's still going to be sitting there doing nothing, twiddling their thumbs, waiting to connect up. And at the same time, you've got Nick Champion earmarking Aldinga as one of the 3 next big hotspots for medium density, sort of 5 to 7 story homes. So
absolutely,
cart before the horse.
Exactly, and the train only goes to Seaford Meadows there, and we really need to have it going much further because we want people to be out of their cars, and people want to be out of their cars. If there is public transport that is affordable and reliable, I think people would rather jump on that, and particularly with how much car parking is in the city now. So, look, yes, it was a great win last night, having what was taken away returned and a little bit of interest there. Will it be enough? I'm not entirely sure. I need to get those details, but it's certainly, I think, a very welcome spend, and I think the biggest infrastructure spend in regional South Australia.
Certainly is. Good stuff. Rebecca Sharkey there, the federal member for Mayo. Thanks for joining us for that special Breaking at 8, and we'll be paying close attention to how this spending unfolds and talking to Tom Koutsantonis when he's back from his visit to Italy for some emergency talks about the Whyalla Steelworks over there. But how much money's Dipty going to stump up, and is it going to be enough to get it all done, and when's it going to happen?
18 minutes after 8, you asked Penny Wong in passing about the prospect of an early election. The Prime Minister's been asked about it as well. Given the big spending nature of the budget, it kind of had a pre-election vibe to it. He was asked on Sky News earlier. This is how that exchange went.
Prime Minister, will there be an early election?
We're focused on the economy and getting all of the settings right. I'll leave the obsession with politics to the other side. That's what they do last night. Initially, their gut instinct was to say no to Australian jobs and say no to making things here in Australia. They're addicted to saying no to everything. What we're focused on is the needs of the Australian economy and the Australian people.
So will there be an election this year, yes or no?
We're not focused on politics, Peter. What we're focused on, the election is due in 2025. What we're focused on is getting the settings right and turning things around.
Was he boiling an egg?
It sounded like the time went off, yeah.
That's right. Your 6 minutes are up. Your eggs are ready, Prime Minister.
What's your reading of it? You've covered lots of elections.
I think if they went this year, they'd look like cynical and opportunistic people. I think, particularly given that there's still a lot of voter fatigue over the voice and we're going to the elections. I think they'll go next year. Although the gamble for them,
what if there's a rate cut?
Well, yeah, if there's a rate cut, it's a bit.
Well, how long do you need before
licking your lips, isn't it?
Between calling an election What's the minimum period of time?
It's about 8 weeks, isn't it?
8 weeks. Yeah, you could say there's a... You wouldn't want to do it. You'd want to do it well before Christmas. I mean, it's very unlikely you're going to have a rate cut on that timeline.
It would just look too opportunistic.
Yeah. No, it seems
the rub voters up the wrong way.
All right, let's check traffic. For the biggest range of outdoor furniture indoors, visit the Outdoor Scene's new location, Wilton Avenue, Somerton Park.
Thanks, Will. At Myrtle Bank, got a road closed and a clean-up happening after a nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. Crossroad closed between Fullerton Road and Glen Osmond Road. Starting to get really busy around the area if you can avoid it. Slow going at the moment at Northfield, Bryans Road to Grand Junction Road. Getting busy. Seacombe Road at Seacombe Heights with the Camera Hillier Road at Morford Vale. Can't get to an Officeworks store? They'll come to you with next day, same day and 2-hour delivery options. Make bigger things happen with Officeworks. Exclusions apply. See website for details. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Now, what's happening with concussion, with this Jeremy Cameron stuff?
He went up for a high mark.
Yeah.
Smashed his head quite hard. A lot of the questioning coming out, why wasn't he taken from the ground and actually assessed properly with the HIA protocols and the like? You watch the vision. The doctor's trying to chase him.
The 5AA Sports Show.
There's hardly any...
This is a breach.
There's hardly any deep diagnosis going on now.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
We all know how dangerous undiagnosed sleep apnea can be on our health. SA's own Respirico Healthcare has been supporting South Australians for 20 years. As well as with no out-of-pocket expense, In-Home Sleep Studies Respirico can now offer a 100-day money-back guarantee on Philips DreamStation CPAP devices. Now there's no excuse for not treating sleep apnea with a risk-free trial at Respirico Healthcare. When considering whether CPAP is right for you, speak to your doctor. Always follow the directions for use.
Hi, Katie Bridges here, Market Lead at 5AA. 2024 will mark my 4th year participating in the annual Vinnie's CEO Sleep Out. On June 20th, SA business and community leaders will gather at Adelaide Oval for one night to raise funds and awareness for people who sleep rough every night. If you're a business or community leader, get involved to help those who don't have a safe place to call home. Sign up now at ceosleepout.org.au. I'll see you there.
Samtas Seafood invite you to experience Adelaide's finest seafood at unbeatable prices. Experience SA freshness with local gar fillets, $45.99 a kilo, Mulloway fillets, $35.99, or how about freshly hand-crumbed skinless flathead fillets, yum, $37.99 a kilo.
But that's not all. Their winning deal, 4 kilos of snap frozen seafood favourites for just $60 is unbeatable. You can mix and match with fillets of flathead, dory, Emperor, barramundi, portions of Tassie Ocean trout and Atlantic salmon, 1 kilo packs. An amazing offer, 4 kilos for still $60.
Talking a lot about inflation this morning, Samtas still haven't got the message. It's been 4 kilos for $60 for as long as I can remember, and it includes crumb prawn, salt and pepper squid, salmon cutlets, mix and match, excellent value, 4 kilos for $60. Don't miss out.
Choose from a huge variety of affordable premium seafood, and newsflash, Samtas are continuing with their lowest king prawn prices in years. King prawns starting from only $13.99 a kilo.
Samtas Seafoods, Adelaide's quality seafood specialists. Factory direct and open 7 days. Samtas Seafoods, where value meets quality. 201 Richmond Road, Richmond.
NRG Solar knows that solar isn't just about panels. It's about future-proofing. Start your journey to self-sufficiency today. Be the visionary. Take charge. NRG Solar's new warehouse is fully stocked with a stunning range of wholesale solar and battery equipment. See it for yourself. Discover the power of solar at NRG Solar. Call 1300 858 160 or visit nrgsolar.com.au and make tomorrow brighter. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
Receive your golden ticket and win at Solitaire Volkswagen. Choose your demonstrator Volkswagen passenger or commercial vehicle. Have it delivered by June 30 and you will receive your exclusive golden ticket where you can instantly win up to $5,000 off your Volkswagen. 100 prizes up for grabs with a combined value over $40,000. Visit Solitaire Volkswagen in Hawthorne and Medindi today for your chance to win. Hurry, ends Saturday 25 May. SA permit T24/795. Full T's and C's at solitairevolkswagen.com.au. DL 65541.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 after 8, we're going to cross back to the southeastern freeway in just a moment, the scene of that cement truck rollover that damaged the fountain and caused some issues for traffic. Jade Robrin's been reporting on the scene for us, but now we're getting some reports of a major crash on the expressway. Trevor in Seaford's seen it all unfold. What's happened there, Trevor?
G'day, mate. How are you?
Good, mate.
The right-hand lane coming on the Pennsylvania Road on-ramp, where there's only 2 lanes, the right-hand lane's got at least 4 cars involved, and it's causing a hassle.
Just a rear-ender type situation, Trevor?
Yes, I think so. They're not exchanging notes.
So is that heading out of town or heading towards town,
No,
Trevor?
into town.
Coming into town,
Two people
penalty.
shouting and screaming on top of the... I could see it coming the other way. They're waving fists at each other.
Oh, no, really?
So, yeah.
Oh,
Might have a cost of living experience.
Yeah. Great traffic report. Thank you. Thank you for that, Trevor. They're not exchanging notes. No, it sounds like they're not exchanging pleasantries either. Thank you for that. Let's go from the expressway then to the southeastern freeway. Jade Robrin, how are we looking there? That one's opened up a bit more, has it?
Yeah, it has, guys. Good morning. And the traffic is flowing relatively well. The down track from the freeway is flowing pretty well. It's only banking up probably about 10 cars deep. It was all the way back past the toll gate earlier this morning. Traffic flowing down Port Rush Road. So traffic looking not too bad. We've got the street sweeper that has just arrived. That is cleaning up the crossroad going up eastbound, so everybody's here on the scene trying to get this road open as fast as they possibly can after this truck that was coming down the freeway at around 3:50 this morning turned onto Cross Road and ploughed straight into the fountain. Now, it's probably about 50 metres from the corner. It is ploughed straight into the wall there and completely demolished it, so it's very, very unstable. We've got major crash on the scene. We've got several police officers here controlling traffic and a lot of pedestrians that think it's a good idea just to wander onto the scene. So bit of stupidity happening here this morning, but anyway, this truck has rolled over on its side. It has spilt cement all over the street. So as I said, the street sweeper is cleaning that up right now, but engineers will have to arrive on the scene any moment now to really assess this wall. It is coming down as we speak. There's a lot of broken bricks that are crumbling. That is extremely unsafe and will come down. So therefore this road, the eastbound way of Cross Road, will be closed for the majority of the day. But some good news, the driver, he did have to be cut out of the cabin. He was rushed to hospital. He has had a CT scan which has showed up several fractures, but he will make a full recovery, which is good news. But several bus zones in the area have had to take alternative routes. Bus 100, 170 and 300 will not be stopping on crossroads. They will be taking alternative routes. Guys, as I mentioned, the traffic, it is flowing, but if you are coming down the freeway and can take an alternative route, please do so, because that eastbound on Cross Road from Fullerton Road to the corner of the freeway will remain closed for some time. The westbound from the freeway down to Fullerton, it has reopened, so that is flowing, and the traffic down Glen Osmond Road and Port Rush is also flowing as well.
Yeah, we can see it on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Bit of traffic going through there at the moment. Thank you for that, Jade. And updated pictures now that the pictures have light on them. You can see that the wall is in a state of disrepair. So there's a bit of work to be done yet on that scene before it's back to normal. 28 minutes after 8. We're going to take a break. 5AA News is coming up. The Police Commissioner live in the studio next.
When you're a market-leading builder like Regent Homes, you never rest on your laurels. It's why Regent Homes is South Australia's only builder offering 3D virtual reality technology in their Envision Design Studio. At your first design meeting, you'll walk through your home in virtual reality. It's a wow moment, enriching your experience so you can make the right design choices from the start. Regent Homes. Innovative design, elevated living. Visit regenthomes.com.au.
Humans once spent hours starting fires, scrubbing dishes and washing laundry, until appliances made it easy. Even choosing your appliance is easy thanks to Adelaide Appliance Gallery. They make life easier with the best advice, the best appliances and the best deals on Smeg. Choose from Smeg's Diamond series of dishwashers and you'll save up to $500. Make your life easier with Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your highly valued comic book collection or your 1976 Tirana in mint condition. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Look, we weren't going to say anything, but here at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, we've had some great news. We have just been named National Dealer of the Year by Volkswagen. Again, 2 years running. We're so chuffed we're having a sale on new and demo stock. They're available for immediate delivery with easy finance options. And remember, convenient next day servicing with complimentary loan vehicles. Now our great news is your great news. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's National Dealer of the Year sale. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 22 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hands you can trust and state-of-the-art facilities. Physio Extra, tailoring care for you. PhysioExtra.com.
A truck driver has suffered serious injuries after crashing into the wall at the bottom of the freeway. Jade Robrin's at the scene.
At this point in time, we don't know if it is a brakes issue, whether it was a speed issue. I can tell you that the driver, he had to be cut out of the cabin. He was rushed to hospital. He has had a CT scan and he has got some fractures. He will be okay, thankfully, but the truck, it's just flipped on its side. It's an absolute mess.
A street sweeper has been called in to clean up the road and traffic is moving again, but eastbound traffic on Cross Road is closed. And there's been another accident on Panatalinga Road heading into town involving about 4 cars. Treasurer Jim Chalmers handed down his third budget last night. Zach De Silva says with high energy prices putting pressure on Australians, the Albanese government has used their financial blueprint to help ease some of the pain.
Labor is giving a one-off $300 energy bill rebate to all households and a little extra to small businesses at a total cost of $3.5 billion. Rent assistance for those on low incomes is also being increased another 10%. Treasurer Jim Chalmers claims inflation will come down much faster as a result.
It will take about half a click off the CPI next year.
The government is also announcing dozens of programs to attract new investment and grow the nation's industrial base. There's billions of dollars in support for renewable energy projects like wind and solar and new spending on local manufacturing. Australia Institute's senior economist Matt Grudnoff says it's a start, but more needs to be done.
This is a real wait and see.
The nation's finances are expected to post a $9.3 billion surplus this financial year, but then we're back into the red over the next 4 years, mainly on the back of weaker exports and a rise in the unemployment rate.
Pat Sparrow from Cota says there were some pleasing aspects of the budget for older Australians, including the energy rebate.
There are also some good relief measures for older people on medicine, so they're a freeze on the PBS, and also a 10% increase in Commonwealth rent assistance, and people who are renting, older renters are doing it really tough. And in residential care, there's going to be funding for state and territory governments to provide more health care.
Police are investigating a fatal stabbing at Coober Pedy. A 46-year-old man from Indulkana was stabbed in the chest in Hutchison Street yesterday afternoon. Senior Constable Kate Dawson says he died later in hospital.
Patrols quickly located and arrested a 47-year-old Cooper Pedy man nearby. It's understood both parties are known to each other and we're not seeking any further suspects. So this man's been charged with murder and he'll be appearing before the Cooper Pedy Magistrates Court today.
South Australian man Troy Smith is bolstering his defence after being arrested for allegedly being in possession of meth in Bali. He's hired the man who helped free Schapelle Corby. John McLeod is a former police officer turned consultant who works with Aussies in legal trouble overseas. And we're being warned to be wary of new SMS scams targeting customers of major supermarkets and telcos. The communications watchdog says a text message asking people to redeem loyalty points before they expire is likely to be fraudulent. And now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And once again, good morning, Tom Wren.
Very good morning to you as well, Graham. Both SA clubs, the Crows and Port Adelaide, will hit the training track this morning as they prepare for their respective matches this weekend. The Power have a chance to cement themselves in the top 8 and push towards the top 4 with a win over Hawthorn, while the Crows need a win against Collingwood on Saturday at the MCG to keep touch with the 8. Meantime, AFL legend Lee Matthews says Essendon is in the top bracket of clubs this season. That's on the back of a come-from-behind win over the Giants. Matthews says the Bombers are well and truly on the rise. Not on the rise, Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham. They've missed out on Champions League football for next season after going down to Manchester City 2-0 this morning. Postecoglou says it's disappointing.
We'll assess the season. Still got one more game to go. So go to Sheffield United, and we've got to make sure we finish with a strong performance there, and then we'll assess the season there.
The result means Aston Villa will play in the Champions League next season and put City in the box seat to win the title on the final day. Aussie Alex de Minaur has been knocked out of the Italian Open after being well beaten by Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets in their fourth round encounter. And Jack Whiten claims he has nothing to prove and won't be ending his State of Origin retirement. There have been calls for the 31-year-old to help New South Wales overcome an injury crisis in the halves. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Lynn Andrews Real Estate, experts in commercial and residential property management. lynnandrews.com.au.
At Myrtle Bank, got a road closed and a clean-up happening after a nasty truck crash at the bottom of the freeway. Crossroad closed between Fullerton and Glen Osmond Road to avoid the area. She is getting quite busy at the moment. Sluggish at Christie's Beach, Dyson Road near Keaney Street. Slow at Alberton for works. Port Road near Grand Junction Road with the Canberra Military Road at Westlake Shore. A massive $549 million could be yours with the USA Mega Lotto. Hurry, draw closes in less than an hour. Grab your tickets now at lotteryoffice.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
See any issue firsthand with AutoCam. Real-time video, direct to you from your Automaster's technician.
And the long dry continues. Partly cloudy 22 today, tomorrow partly cloudy 22, Friday partly cloudy 21, and Saturday mostly sunny 18. Right now it's 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hyundai's SUV sale is on now with 2K factory bonuses on Santa Fe. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 9. If you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll see we've been joined in the studio by the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens. Commissioner, good morning to you.
Good morning, boys. Always great to have you in, Commissioner. We might start with a story that has broken only in the last hour. We understand that there's a protest out at Wingfield. We're not sure why it's at Wingfield, but it's the Freedom for Palestine Brigade, the same people who are down at the Adelaide Uni at the moment with their camp. From a policing perspective, what sort of challenges is this throwing up for SAPOL at the moment?
Well, it's just to start, it's not just pro-Palestine protesters. They're joined by our good friends from Extinction Rebellion, which means we've got people who have glued themselves to the gates of an engineering company and glued themselves to the roadway as well, just in front of the entrance to an engineering firm down on Cormac Road at Wingfield.
Why has this sort of little merger happened?
Well, that's a question for them, I think. Let's see if you can get them into the studio to answer those questions. But
I reckon there's probably a little bit of crossover in the world of the protest community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What are we protesting about today?
Because I can't imagine on the ground as we speak in Palestine that the carbon footprint of the earth is a big concern.
No, probably got other fish to fry at the moment.
Yeah, wouldn't have thought. It's a natural fit right now.
So we've got somewhere in the order of about 15 police vehicles down there. Over half of those are traffic patrols, making sure that Cormac Road is a safe area, because we are negotiating with the protesters and trying to remove them and eliminate the restrictions. And I think I've said before, these protests which are happening almost on a daily basis, a significant drain on police resources, and it's an impact that we are not really geared up for in terms of our establishment numbers. We've already got substantive work that has to be done, and we've got patrols that are fully committed, and we're in pretty difficult times in terms of keeping up with demand. And I think everyone knows that we're we're still below our establishment numbers, so we're recruiting heavily, trying to get back there. This is just another drain that really has an impact.
How would you characterise this particular group as protesters? Are they reasonably well behaved? Are they looking for trouble? Where do they fit on the spectrum?
Yeah, we watch what's happening interstate and overseas, but particularly interstate in Australia. And I'd have to give credit to the people who are protesting that we haven't had any incidents of violence.
That's good.
Obviously they're animated and getting their point across as much as they can, but we haven't seen it degenerate into any sort of violent activity, which I'm very pleased about, and it's not something we will tolerate. If we see any acts of violence or threats of violence, we'll be taking steps to put a lid on that.
Are there any concerns about, there was some incidents that flared up at Adelaide University with fireworks or some such in the last week? Is that just mischief making, or is there a concern that might turn into something that's more potentially violent or dangerous?
Well, we did look closely at that. I think it raised some alarm amongst some people and probably caused some fear in the group, not knowing what exactly was happening, but it doesn't seem to have gone any further at this stage.
Commissioner, we were talking yesterday about the report that Will's news guys at 7 had the other night about these mobile phone detection cameras. Are you worried that appears to be a bit of a glitch with them?
No. Excuse me. It's I think it's probably got a bit of a life of its own, this issue about a concern in false positives or the risk of someone getting a fine for holding their wallet up to their ear or holding something in their lap. This is standard technology that's used around the world. It's used in Australia. There is always going to be a false positive rate from the algorithms that detect the potential use of a mobile phone. So what that algorithm does is it singles out those images that looks like it could be a mobile phone. That is reviewed by one of our staff in Expiation Notice Branch, who is trained to review the images, and they make a decision as to whether we're going to send an expiation notice out to the person who's been detected or to the registered owner of the car.
Is it a larger amount of those that need to be reviewed than you'd previously thought?
Well, this is the camera technology we have for speed and red light cameras is well established and pretty solid technology. This is new technology, but it does require that level of human intervention because we're relying on AI to pick up the images that are of concern. So we will always be putting that human interface over the top of it to make sure that what we have detected is actually someone using their mobile phone.
But is that human intervention, has that been necessitated because of concerns over it? Or is that something that was always going to be part of it?
It's always been intended that we would have that staff member reviewing those images. That's part of the process, and this is exactly what we intended to roll out, and that's what we're doing. And we are funded for additional staff to do that role. So we're not taking people from existing policing duties to review images. The whole principle around this approach is the technology requires that level of human analysis, and we are funded for additional people to do that job.
Have you been surprised how many people have been getting captured during the trial period?
Yeah, quite phenomenal. It's only a small percentage rate during, I think we had a period of 28 days in April where the cameras were operating. Something like 415,000 vehicles went past and 5,000 detections, which is significant from one camera. So
wow, crikey!
This is the wake-up call for everybody.
These are, just to be clear, sorry, I'm just trying to think for people that don't know the area.
5,000 people.
Are these stationary vehicles or moving vehicles that are going through this camera area?
Moving.
So presumably if you had one of these cameras at an intersection, it would be even worse, wouldn't it? Just the nature of human behaviour.
Well, you can just see from your own observations, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. This is the warning for people that the technology is improving day by day. Now, we do have fixed cameras at the moment, but we're not that far away from being able to deploy mobile cameras capable of detecting people using their mobile phones, not wearing seat belts, and that greatly enhances our ability to ensure people are doing the right thing on the road. The fines are substantial, and if you get caught, you're going to feel the sting pretty quickly. We turn the cameras into testing mode on the 19th of June, which is the beginning of the grace period. Well, sorry, we're in testing now. On the 19th of June, the cameras are active and ready to go, and we've got a grace period of 3 months from the 19th of June to the 19th of September. If you go through the camera and are detected using your phone between the 19th of June and September, you will get a warning letter telling you that the vehicle has been detected with the person driving the vehicle using a mobile phone device. No fine and no caution, but you'll get the warning letter.
We've received a lot of text on that component of it Why is there a grace period?
Well, historically we have used a grace period for when we introduce a new enforcement capability, be it speed cameras or changing speed locations or speed zones. So this is really just keeping consistent with how we deploy new technology. And you could argue that we're not changing the laws and people should be held accountable straight away. But I think it's we are creating another mechanism to catch people. So you could argue that we're playing fair.
Psychologically, you'd hope that people take it as a bit of a truth. I've dodged a bullet there.
Oh, I hope so. And that's the whole purpose. Is
it's $700, isn't it?
It's around $550 plus the victims of crime levy, which takes it up to around $650 hit to your back pocket. So the warning's there. Don't do it.
It's easy to avoid, isn't it? It's easy not to. I got done, I'll admit, about 10 years ago. I was pulling into my then rental house in Goodwood, and I lived in a cul-de-sac, and I was running late. I dropped the kids off at school. I was running late for a phone hookup when I was editing news.com. The phone rang, and I was turning into my driveway, and I picked up the phone, and I went, "I'll call you back in 2 minutes," and I put it down, and for some reason, one of your esteemed boys in blue was parked in my street.
We'd been sitting there for weeks waiting to catch you.
Is it a permanent tasking on David Penberthy?
Absolutely, yeah. We've dropped an air tag into his car so we know where he is.
It feels like at the time I felt like, come on. But then I thought, well, this is just the easiest thing in the world not to do.
I think it's just... It's part of how we are now. Like, these phones are connected to us all the time, and it's counterintuitive not to look at it or to touch it.
But since then, I turn my phone's on silent when I get in the car. It's connected so I can talk hands free, but I can't hear it ring because it's just.
There's not too many cars where you can't connect, and if it's not connected, just let it go.
Yeah, do you think this will actually be an area of law where the technology will assist safe driving in the future? Because every new car has, you can have Apple CarPlay, or you can have it connected, so. If it does get a message, the voice will read it to you, or the map will be on your screen, or a call doesn't require you to actually touch the phone. Like, the vast majority of uses of phone will just become integrated into the car.
They will. But one thing, and this is an observation, and this is the opinion of Grant Stevens, there wouldn't be too many of us who haven't been on a phone call and spoken for maybe 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes. And when you think about how did I get to where I am now, because your concentration is taken away from driving. And it goes into the phone conversation. We have an obligation to do everything we can to be as safe as possible on our roads, and distraction is not just about touching your mobile phone, it's about staying alert to the challenges and issues around you that you might confront.
Because there's an argument that even things like Apple CarPlay and so on, like a phone call comes in, you're not touching your phone, but you're holding the steering wheel, you look to the left to see who's calling you, and then your mind does. You got other things on your mind, haven't you?
Yeah,
a lot of purists might even say that hands-free isn't as safe as.
I'm sure there would be people out there doing research on that. But you can touch your phone to activate it or to make the call. But I just remind people that any sort of distraction can result in a collision, and you just don't want that collision to have serious consequences.
Yeah. All right. Great to have you in, Commissioner.
Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
Grant Stevens.
All right, let's check traffic. For the biggest range of outdoor furniture indoors, visit the Outdoor Scene's new location, Wilton Avenue, Somerton Park.
Thanks, Will. At Myrtle Bank, truck crash at the bottom of the freeway this morning. Crossroad is closed outbound from Fullerton Road, but is open as you turn left at the bottom of the freeway. Ranella, multi-car smash on the Southern Expressway, city-bound at the Palatinga on-ramp. Slow for works at Port Adelaide, St Vincent Street near Baker Street. And got a camera this morning, Cherry Gardens Road at Cherry Gardens. Right now, the Ford Transit customers in stock and in run-out at your Ford dealer while stocks last. See your Ford dealer today. Model year 23.25 only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA Mornings today, we'll take a deep dive into last night's federal budget, what is in it for you, and community centres in your local area. What role do they play? How do you get involved? I'll be visiting 4 centres over the next few weeks today, talking with their CEO, someone you know very well here on 5AA. Kerry Ackermans will join me to discuss the importance of community centres in our neighbourhoods. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Those topics and others as well. Look forward to your company from 9.
It truly is a win-win. 2 grand prize homes, 2 grand prize winners. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery has doubled the dream with 2 life-changing grand prizes in Henley Beach. Both are mortgage-free, fully furnished and built by Scott Salisbury Homes. With over 11,000 draws, you've got a 1 in 15 chance to win. Life-changing prizes, life-changing impact. Get your tickets at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14548.
Emergencies don't recognise business hours. They can happen at any time and need professional attention in no time. With Adelaide's only 24-hour private emergency department, Calvary Adelaide provides expert treatment at any hour, on any day. You'll experience shorter wait times before receiving personalised care from experienced professionals. For emergency care 24/7, trust South Australia's newest state-of-the-art hospital, Calvary Adelaide. 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
Jarvis Toyota has moved to their brand new home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park. So now is the time to take advantage of opening savings across the entire Hilux range, including the Hilux GR Sport. Hilux, the unbreakable connection since 1968, will be stronger than ever with the first ever Hilux GR Sport, inspired with Dakar DNA, available now and boasting more power and torque. Jarvis Toyota, now at Brighton Road, Somerton Park, proudly celebrating 22 years of great deals.
If you love your home but you've never been in love with your kitchen, well, the answer is not far away.
Nope, it's just 15 minutes up the freeway, in fact, because that's where you'll find Balhana Kitchens by Design. It boasts the largest kitchen design showroom in the Adelaide Hills. Plus, it's a family business with 35 years' experience, so they care about taking care of you.
And their expertise goes further than kitchens. They can create laundries, linen cupboards, robes and vanities, plus all cabinet installations are backed by a 10-year warranty.
Balhana Kitchens by Design, it's not too far to go to make your dream kitchen a reality. Check out their website, balhanakitchens.com.au.
Hyundai's SUV sale with up to $1,500 in factory bonuses on Tucson. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 to 9, let's have a look at the fuel situation this morning. Find the cheapest fuel in an instant with the free RAA app. Download it today. Some outlets are jumping up to $2. It's got that feeling where we're going to see a big price jump today. There's plenty that have it though, so we're not there yet, but it just has that vibe where some have changed. So maybe this next load is going to be more expensive. The ex-convenience Anzac Highway Plympton still below $1.70, so that's good. $1.69.5. So too the OTR South Road Darlington, $1.69.5, and the Liberty Bridge Road Paraka, $1.69.5. The cheapest diesel, the Ampol Griffiths Road Seaford, is $1.81.9. So diesel's actually come off a long way. You were struggling to get it much below $1.90 earlier in the week. $1.81 as we speak now.
Good text here, just in on the Dutton's text line from Belinda. You will have heard in 5AA News this morning the warning about this latest scam involving Coles. Well, Belinda got one. Gee, and there's the other thing, 3:46 a.m. This is when it hit her phone. Nothing drives me more mad. In the middle of the night, you get a text saying you've been through a toll or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, which toll have I been through in South Australia? We haven't got any. So if you're going to scam people, let's try to work out which state they're in. But Belinda texted in with a screenshot of her phone. She got this message at 3:46 a.m. Coles, your points are about to expire. We encourage you to take action today. And then with a handy URL, giftinfo.com. I'm sure if you followed that one to the nth degree, you'd end up emptying your credit card into it. And further to our chat with Grant Stevens, a lot of people are talking about the point we were making. Kay says, what about all these stupid computer screens in cars these days? It's the same thing and just as distracting. And as the Commissioner said, you would actually expect someone right now somewhere is doing a study into this. The link between inattention and saying, I was just trying to tap something to make Spotify work on my computer screen.
But I guess historically, it's not too dissimilar from, I was trying to find 5AA on the AM band before you had digital. We had to literally manually tune it.
Or get the UBB out of your glove box.
That's right.
So you could find out where you were going on the map.
Or the air conditioner also. The phone's the big one because you have to look so far away and for such a long period of time potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Stacks of feedback about the interview that we did with Penny Wong. A lot of people saying that they're not buying the $300 because they don't think it's a structural change to the cost of power. A lot of people running businesses, a lot of people just trying to pay off their quarterly or monthly power bills are saying this is a little brief sugar hit and then we'll be back to normal, later in the year. So where's the enduring structural policy shift that is going to drive power prices down?
Like we were promised before the last election with the Powering Australia policy that I read out a little bit earlier. Powering Australia, because of the introduction of more renewables and so forth, was going to drive down power. Well, that's been an abject failure then.
Yeah.
If you need a rebate, a one-off rebate, just to try and help people get by, the structural stuff has been a disaster.
Yeah.
Mind you, the gas policy, I know it upset every greenie in the country last week, but I thought that was a step in the right direction.
Well, it was. It was almost like a bit of an internal get your house in order message to the Labor Party itself. When you've got the Andrews Allen government running around saying people aren't allowed to have gas stoves anymore, and you've seen companies like Sealy pack up their bags and leave Victoria and move 120-odd jobs back to Adelaide, you know, it's madness. We wouldn't have got to the, 75% renewables here in SA, but without the backup of gas. What I want to know is, why have we got the arse gluers out there from Extinction Rebellion forming a unholy alliance with the Rivet of the Sea Brigade?
There's some really weird bedfellows that we're seeing on American campuses at the moment. A lot of LGBTQI people have been formed part of the Gaza protest, and you're getting these weird banners.
Well, that's what you call genuinely hilarious.
Yes,
because I saw one placard, their words, not mine, from one of the one of the university protests here in Australia, Queers for Palestine. How far do you reckon you're going to get going with that, talking to your local holy man in the back streets of Gaza?
Not a particularly popular position.
Yeah, here I am. I'm a drag queen.
It does seem
I'm a drag queen for Palestine.
The only reason I bring it up is it does seem to be this phenomenon where people who protest about one issue probably protest about others, and they see it as an opportunity to say, well, here's a whole group of people who might be on my side of politics. Maybe we can double up. You know, no use making another sign when you don't have to make one. But yeah, it's a weird combination. Poor old people at Wingfield don't know what they did to be dragged into the war.
Well, this is where I wonder whether it might actually, for it to have actually got to this point, it might be some energy business that's got links to Israel.
Maybe.
Because this is the thing, it happens all the time in Albo Zone C. Any Israeli businesses end up getting targeted by the Greens in the Marrickville Council. There's a bit of a historical precedent for that. They used to just put yellow stars on businesses that had Jewish links.
Yeah, now it's just part.
Just to throw out a bit of history there. I think in Germany it was actually known as Kristallnacht, wasn't it?
The night.
Yeah, that's what it was called. Now it's just sort of,
part of peaceful protest.
Yeah, exactly.
Traffic.
That was cynicism, by the way.
Traffic at the bottom of the freeway looks to be flowing pretty well at the moment. The clean-up for the truck's still underway with the street sweeper on the scene, according to Jade. They're moving as quickly as possible, letting cars still get through on the far western lane down Cross Road. The cement truck still there on its side, but traffic is still flowing onto Portrush Road and Glen Osmond Road. Just so to round us out from where we started, it sounds like traffic's moving pretty well through that incident that threatened to derail everyone's morning commute from the hills and southern suburbs this morning. We're out of time.
Thanks to everyone who called and texted in. We'll be back tomorrow.
See you then.
It all started with a pen and paper 30